Part 100. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1003. With the nourishment of these countless corpses and essence and blood, the 12 gods and demons quickly reached the perfection of Deluo Jinxian. Then it got stuck. A ray of blue divine light flew out from Su Junming's Danshan, and in the blink of an eye turned into a divine gate tens of millions of feet high. Next moment, a ferocious head with red hair, shaped like a tiger, stained with blood, 2 to 3 million feet long, and shaped like a hill flew out from it. As soon as the head came out, Zhu Rong, who had an animal head and a human body next to him, covered in red scales, with red snakes hanging from his ears, and a fire dragon on his feet, roared violently. The strong body struggled to grasp the head in his hands. But the invisible restriction emanating from the divine flag behind it tightly restrained its figure. Zhu Ronzi, when he was cleaning Buzhu Mountain, he found it in a deep mountain stream. It's a pity that the rest of Zhu Rong was not found. With a wave of his hand, Zhu Rong's head slowly flew towards the divine flag. The roaring and struggling demon god Zhu Rong grabbed the head and pressed it down on his head. A strange scene appeared. The two heads merged together like water and milk. Time seemed to have suddenly stopped at this moment. Rumble, the calamity energy filled the sky, flying from the underworld. This is the last level of the Lushan catastrophe, with a total of 99 and 81 great cave divine thunders. If you can pass it, you are Hunyuan, if you cannot pass it, you will become ashes. Su Junming waved his right hand and quickly retreated with the other sacred flags. The surrounding space is also expanding rapidly. Soon he left the range of the Zhurong divine banner to overcome the tribulation. Click. The first thunder struck down. The divine thunder of the 10,000-foot cave has the power to ward off all kinds of demons. Demon god Zhurong raised his fist and directly smashed the thunder into pieces. 1, 2, 40 thunderbolts passed by. The diameter of the thunder has reached 400,000 feet, and the rolling thunder of the cave is like the falling of the Milky Way, striking down with surging force. Zhu Rong was already resisting with his physical body. This time he was not intact, and the powerful thunder quickly tore apart the flesh and blood of his limbs and chest. After devouring countless flesh and blood, the essence left in the body quickly turned into new flesh and blood. The catastrophes were like forging hammers. Under the complex forging, countless impurities flew out of the iron embryo of demon god Zhurong. It didn't take long to reach the end. Boom! The 81st lightning catastrophe was nearly 1,000,000 feet long. The overwhelming thunder of the cave instantly overwhelmed demon god Zhurong. Wait for the thunder to disappear. It showed its miserable appearance. Except for the complete head, the bones of the arms and soles of the feet have disappeared, and the back and chest are bloody. However, although it is miserable, it has completely survived the great catastrophe. As for the inner demon calamity, although demon god Zhurong is not a dead thing, its spirit only has simple instincts, and it is basically the spiritual consciousness separated by Su Junming. Therefore, there is no need to survive the tribulation. Soon, the calamity energy was transformed into infinite creation spiritual energy, which quickly integrated into the entire Zhurong divine banner. Flesh and blood grew rapidly, and Zhurong once again regained the appearance of a beast-headed body, covered in red scales, with fire snakes pierced in his ears, and fire dragons on his feet. Roar! The desolate and domineering roar shook the entire space. If Kongshanju hadn't been blessed by too many treasures, it would have already affected the outside world. Boom! The domineering, fierce, and hot Zhurong divine fire rises into the sky like a raging wave. The overwhelming heat wave unleashed its tyrannical power wantonly. Demon god Zhurong also continued to expand, becoming 30 million feet in the blink of an eye. An overbearing aura filled the air, making it difficult for Su Junming to breathe. Hunyuan reaches the realm. He looked at demon god Zhurong roaring up to the sky with fiery eyes. After so many years of hard work, he finally succeeded. Zhurong's success stimulated the other demon gods to roar. Hunyuan Genman was shocked. An arm millions of feet long, wrapped in countless blue scales and entangled with the energy of green wood, flew out. Demon god Jamang roared, with a hint of urgency on his ferocious face. Like Zhurong's head, this sentence of broken arms is also derived from Buzhu Mountain. Release the restraint and let demon god Jamang take a big step to grab the severed arm and press it directly towards his right arm. The two arms merged quickly. Jamang's aura surged and soon caused a catastrophe. If I had known earlier, I should have left those words on the palm of my hand. Shaking his head slightly, he waved his hand and sent the Jamang divine flag away from the tribulation. Soon some severed hands, legs, and torsos flew out from the Hunyuan Genman. They are all fragments left behind by the ancestral witch. In the blink of an eye, only Fuxi and Hutu were left among the 12 demon gods. Hutu was not dead, and his body was transformed into reincarnation. Therefore, Su Junming does not have her bits and pieces here. As for Fuxi, he was a little hesitant. Originally he planned to use it as a vehicle for me to eliminate evil spirits, but now he has a better choice. With a flick of his finger, 5 drops of light cyan, rich blood essence flew into Fuxi's body. Back then, he obtained Fuxi's physical body and took away half of its essence and blood. Now, they are all using it to practice the Fuxi divine flag. Boom, the catastrophe is rolling. Su Junming waved his hand and sent it away to survive the disaster. In the end, only Hutu was left. Compared to the thunderous roars of other demon gods, Hutu seemed a little quiet. There is no broken Yuanling from the ancestral witch in her body, it is all controlled by Su Junming's distraction. With a wave of his left hand, a huge black shield and a cyan scepter flew over. The 7 arms behind Hutu instantly grabbed 2 treasures. With a thought in his heart, demon god Zhurong strode over. The huge mouth opened, and the divine fire rolled straight towards the thick soil. Zhurong, who has recovered his Hunyuan strength, naturally has his true fire at the Hunyuan level. The scorching flames, like dragons and snakes, circled around Hutu. After a while, the flesh and blood on Hutu's body was damaged. The longer it burned, the more flesh and blood on Hutu's body was lost. Soon Tianwu, who had 8 human faces and a tiger body and 8 tails, came over. As soon as the sacred flag is shaken behind the back, the rolling wind blows from the solace of Hutu's feet and Baiwi point, from above and below, and blows all over the internal organs and bones. 12 gourds spurted out a huge amount of essence and blood for Hutu to absorb and refine. Calcined by the divine fire and tempered by the sinister wind, Hutu's body became stronger and stronger, and he gradually gained the ability to survive the 99 Lushan tribulation. Feeling that it's almost done, I manipulated the demon to take back the wind and fire. Hutu's aura at this time was several times stronger than before. Without Su Junming's seal, heavenly catastrophe soon followed. Fortunately, the demon god who overcame the tribulation in front of him made Su Junming understand the intensity of the tribulation. Hutu was able to survive. But in the end, it was even more miserable. From top to bottom, only the head, spine, pelvis, half of the leg bones, and internal organs remained. If it weren't for the powerful innate spiritual energy behind it, it would be repaired quickly and become even more powerful. Su Junming suffered a big loss. It takes too much energy and blood to forcibly create an ancestral witch. Even though he had worked hard to collect a lot over the past 30,000 years, he did not dare to waste any of it. Fortunately, I was well prepared and everything went smoothly later on. Seeing the 12 gods and demons with monstrous momentum, roaring like thunder, and exuding a tyrannical aura, Su Junming felt extremely proud. With them, I no longer have to be afraid of those Hunyuan celestials. But this is not the end. The 12 demon gods opened their huge mouths and swallowed them up again. Infinite blood spurted out from the 12 gourds, and the aura of the 12 demon gods rose again. It wasn't until Hunyuan Tianxian reached perfection that he slowly stopped. This is the pinnacle that Su Junming can reach now. Seeing half of the energy and blood consumed in the 12 gourds, Su Junming sighed inwardly. It only took 10% of the energy and blood to train them to the perfection of Deluo Jingxian. But when the sacrifice to the Hunyuan Heavenly Immortal was completed, 40% was directly consumed. Unfortunately, I thought I could reach the level of Hunyuan Xianxian, but now the perfection of Hunyuan Xianxian may not be achieved. Look at the 4 sacred banners of Donghuang, Zai, Dijiang, and Liaoxiao next to them. With a wave of his hand, Zai and the Emperor River Divine Flag directly began to overcome the tribulation. For each divine flag, in addition to the gods and demons of the main flag, the divine flag itself also needs to survive the tribulation. The combination of the two is the complete Dushan God-Demon banner. With Zai and Dijiang's physical strength, there would be no problem in overcoming the tribulation. As for the Dushan God-Demon flag itself, the flagpole is no longer a yellow plum, but a tempered Buzhu mountain stone. The flags are all made of hollow willows, willow leaves and wickers. The formation pattern carved on the flagpole can be seen as the array of gods and demons in Dushan. The inner space of the flag, tens of billions of miles in space, is filled with elements corresponding to the demon god in the flag. Zhurong's sacred flag is the flame space. Gonggong's sacred flag is the true water space. After the Dijiang divine banner and the Zai divine banner had passed through the tribulation, Su Junming's hands flew up and countless seals were integrated into the banner surface, training them to become low-grade Hunyuan Lingbao with 3 restrictions similar to the Zhurong divine banner. As for the Donghuang divine banner and the Pingxiao divine banner, after thinking about it for a while, I finally didn't take action. Although training with the blood of lich spirits can still allow them to advance to Hunyuan. But Su Junming still wanted to wait until his way of time broke through the Hunyuan, and then directly use the great magical power of returning to the original to restore their original Hunyuan level physical bodies and mana. Lich elf blood is hard to come by, so save it if you can. Looking at the 16-faced divine flag with an earth-shattering aura, there was a trace of expectation in Su Junming's eyes. Maybe you can give it a try. After taking a deep breath to calm down, he suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 almost substantial lights penetrated the void. Make the seals with your hands slowly and solemnly. Gradually, 16-faced sacred flags, with 4 images inside and 8 trigrams outside, stood in the air. The 16 gods and demons no longer roared, and looked solemn, as if they felt something. Su Junming, who was forming seals faster and faster, suddenly stopped and drank. The concentrated body of 12 gods and demons. The mighty sound is magnificent and majestic, like the mysterious sound of heaven. The 12 ancestral shamans, including Dijiang, Zhurong, Gonggong, Hotu, and Chibishi, roared loudly and turned into 12 rays of divine light that flew towards each other. Soon, a frightening and powerful aura bloomed from the fusion of the 12 witch clans. This aura is getting stronger and stronger. Gradually, a huge head with an ancient face and long hair hanging behind his head, like the sun, moon, and stars, slowly appeared. Next is the thick neck, muscular torso, and limbs. The 12-faced divine flags merged with each other and turned into a leather skirt that shone with 12 kinds of colored lights and was wrapped around the waist. The magic weapons of the 12 ancestral witches merged with each other and turned into a thick giant shield. Thanks to the book friend GuoGG1- for the reward of 1,500 starting coins, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1004. Chapter 985 Pangu's True Body. The billions of meters huge body and the extremely powerful aura made Su Junming extremely excited. Great God Pangu. This aura is too strong, really too strong. But it's not over yet, it's not over yet. The seal in the palm changes again. The yin-yang infinite transformation divine eye. Dong Huang Te I and Zai soared into the sky, one merged into the left eye, and the other transformed into the right eye. The aura of great god Pangu instantly improved. Su Junming kept pointing his fingers. The 5 elements return to the 5 phases, and the 4 dimensions transform into rivers. The candle dragon flew into Pangu's body and turned into meridians. Fuxi transforms into the kidneys. Pangu's aura improved a lot. Su Junming looked extremely excited. Successful. My analysis is indeed correct. All descendants of Pangu can be integrated. When he understood from the 12 capital heavenly divine evil formation diagram that summoning Pangu only requires blood and no Yuan Ling, he has been trying to integrate Dong Huang Te I and others into it. As we all know, the descendants of Pangu are not just the 12 ancestral witches. Dong Huang Te I, Dai Jun, Zai, Wangshu, Fuxi, Nuwa, Sanking, Feng Huang, etc. are all. Therefore, he took the 12 capital gods and evil formation as the basis to comprehend his own Dushan god and evil formation. Now that he has successfully formed Pangu's true form, he has reason to be excited. He flew up and submerged into Pangu's sea of consciousness. Sit cross-legged. He clearly felt that a huge power was firmly in his hands. It seems that just by waving your hand, you can open up the world and sweep across the world invincibly. He also knew that this was just an illusion after a sudden increase in power, but this feeling was so wonderful. Now I am not afraid even if I meet the Hunyuan true immortal. Choke followed the earth-shattering sound of the sword. Pangu's sword fell into Pangu's right hand. Shield in left hand and sword in right hand. Although he wanted to test his power, he still endured it. Just when Su Junming was extremely happy, a powerful fragment of Yuan Ling poured into the sea of consciousness. With a flash of light in front of his eyes, a space that was extremely deep and filled with violent and chaotic energy appeared in front of him. Pangu. Accompanied by earth-shattering roars. A billion-foot-tall demon with 2 heads and 4 arms ran over from the chaos. Heavy footsteps, huge body, and blood rising to the sky. Turn chaos upside down. If you want to open the sky, you are going against us. A feeling of disdain suddenly appeared in Su Jun's sea of consciousness. Get out or die. The majestic voice was full of majesty. The gods and demons were furious. The magic power surged, and an orb that was more dazzling than the sun flew out from the top door and struck like lightning. The earth-shattering power far exceeded the upper limit of Su Junming's understanding. Boom. The sound is like thunder. A huge bronze axe covered with mysterious patterns flashed past. The orb was instantly chopped into pieces and turned into 4 petals scattered in all directions. My 4 elephant beads. The sound is unfinished. An extremely powerful force suddenly surged over. The power of the mountain roar and tsunami quickly exceeded the upper limit of Su Junming's control. Boom. With a loud explosion, Pangu's true body collapsed instantly, the 16 gods and demons were instantly ejected, and the illusions in his mind disappeared. Su Junming also flew out in embarrassment. He finally managed to stabilize his body and looked at the mess on the ground. He was so shocked that he couldn't help but murmur to himself. Pangu Yuanling. The power of heaven. Yes, the 12 capital heavenly gods and evil formation has the ability to summon Pangu Yuanling. In addition, the prehistoric world was created by Pangu. If it had not fallen, this world would be Pangu's world. With Pangu Yuanling and a physical body, of course he can use the power of the world. After calming down the shock in his heart, he looked at the scattered Dushan divine flags and shook his head. Unless you can also advance to Hunyuan, it's better not to use this Pangu real body casually. The tyrannical power of heaven was completely beyond his control. Moreover, Pangu Yuanling was too strong, and without a Hunyuan level soul, he could not withstand the strong impact. Although it failed this time, the facts proved that my idea was correct. He took back the Dushan god demonic flag, checked that it was not damaged, and put it away carefully. Finally, he took back the Pangu sword and Hunyuan Genman, and sat down cross-legged after 12 gourds. After a moment of silence, he pressed his head with his right hand. After a moment, strands of navy blue aura slowly flew out from between his eyebrows. Hold it in the palm of your hand and stare at it for a moment. Seal up. The aura was entwined, and a lotus flower shaped like ice crystals took shape. In the center of the lotus was the navy blue aura. Pangu Yuanling must be cleaned up, otherwise the Yuan Shen will be polluted. At least it's hard to make any progress in cultivation, but at worst it's crazy. With a flick of the finger, the lotus flew into the Hunyuan divine gate. After sitting cross-legged in silence, recovering his magic power and calming his mind, he stood up and walked into the Tiangong Hall. There are 3 cauldrons lined up here. The godly furnace of heavenly works, the 10 spiritual taboos, and the top-grade Deluo spiritual treasure. Zizi furnace, 12 spiritual taboos, the best Deluo spiritual treasure. 100 refining furnace, 9 spiritual taboos, high-grade Great Luo spiritual treasure. Just the Zizi furnace and the 100 refining furnace, the Tiangong divine furnace is Su Jun's natal spiritual treasure of tomorrow's Gongdao. Now that his Tiangong Dao has advanced to the realm of Hunyuan, this treasure should also be improved. With a wave of his left hand, the Zurong divine flag flew out. Zurong opened his huge mouth and rolled Zurong's divine fire, including the Tiangong divine furnace. Haha, with you as a free fire burning boy in the future, it will be much easier to make alchemy sacrificial vessels. At the beckoning moment, more than a dozen kinds of spiritual gold and spiritual soil flew out from the shrines on the 4 walls, all of which were at the Hunyuan level. Although most of the billions of years of accumulation between the Lich and Lich clans were divided among the 6 saints, Su Junming spent 30,000 years removing corpses, and his harvest was second only to the saints. Not to mention anything else, there are hundreds of kinds of Hunyuan level spiritual materials and spiritual roots, more than 3,000 copies, which can be described as rich. It is precisely because of his family background that he is willing to equip every god and demon with a magic weapon. The Hunyuan level Zurong divine fire was quickly turned into a paste by various spiritual materials. Su Junming's fingers flew and countless seals flew into it. The aura of the Tiangong divine furnace is getting stronger and stronger, gradually reaching the perfection of Deluo Lingbao, and the next step is to transcend the tribulation. Time passes day by day. In the blink of an eye, another 3,000 years have passed. A sharp divine light broke through the sky and disappeared into the depths of the sky. Shua. The black space passage expanded rapidly, and a ray of light flew out of it. When it landed, it revealed a young monk wearing linen clothes, holding a bamboo staff, and a green gourd hanging from his waist. Su Junming felt it carefully. The spiritual energy in heaven is indeed stronger than that in the lower world, but it is also limited. Activate Dian's divine light and look into the distance. On the endless white clouds, endless palaces float. But except for a few parts, it is still complete, and it is full of aura and is still sacred. Most of them show signs of dilapidation. On the gates of these dilapidated palaces and pavilions, there are still plagues mainly engraved with ancient demonic inscriptions. Although Haoshan and Yaokai were named lords of the heavenly court by Hung Jun, it will be very difficult to restore this magnificent ancient demonic court to its original state. But that's not his concern. Using the Dian Divine Mirror to explore the surrounding areas, no trace of Kongsang Mountain was found. Apparently he was taken to the depths of chaos by Dong Huang Tai early on. He shook his head. His goal was not the chaos clock, so he couldn't be disappointed. Using the method of divine movement in the void, he continued to fly high into the sky. Soon we arrived at the edge of the prehistoric continent. Further outside, there is the vast starry sky of the universe, which contains 365 main stars including Taiyan, Sun, and Ziwei, 9,600 auxiliary stars, and countless small and large virtual stars. There are also 3,000 great thousand worlds, 9 million medium thousand worlds, and 27 billion small thousand worlds. Its vastness is hundreds of thousands of times that of the prehistoric land. With Su Junming's current cultivation level, it would take hundreds of thousands of years to cross such an infinite distance. Fortunately, he didn't need to run too far. After leaving the vast world where heaven is located, leave the prehistoric main world and go deep into the starry sky. Although I have felt the vastness of the ancient world more than once, looking at the distance, I can't imagine the majesty of the sun star and lunar star that are countless billions of miles in diameter. Su Junming still couldn't help but feel emotional, recalling the scenes I once saw in Pangu Yuanling. Although the chaos god and demon holding the 4 elephant pearls was not as strong as the saint, it was far more powerful than the Hunyuan true immortal who killed 2 corpses. Even so, he was still killed by Pangu with an axe, which shows his strength. 3,000 chaos gods and demons contributed their bodies and everything to the growth of the ancient world. Su Junming activated the Hunyuan divine gate and flew for 300 years before leaving the sun and lunar stars behind. In the distance is a deeper world of stars. His spiritual energy was thin, and if he hadn't reached the perfection of Deluo Xianxian, he wouldn't have been able to hold on for long. I saw a planet with yellow beams not far away. It was about the same size as the blue star in my impression. There is no life, just a rocky planet. Such a place is called a virtual star in the ancient world, which means a place without life. After flying for a long time, he landed on this yellow planet. After a brief observation, he activated his escape method and went straight into the depths of the planet. After opening up 100 feet of space and consolidating it with the forbidden method, he took out the teleportation altar that had been prepared earlier and placed it on it. With the teleportation array, you don't have to fly over so hard in the future. Keep going. After flying for nearly 100 years, another huge planet appeared in sight. The size of this planet far exceeds that of the earthly immortal realm. The diameter alone is nearly 3 trillion miles. From a long distance away, one can clearly sense the rich star essence emanating from it. Is this the giant star? The prehistoric starry sky is the chassis of the demon clan. The Zhou Tianxing Do formation is even comparable to the Wu clan's 12 heavenly gods formation. However, with the defeat of the demon clan, all the prehistoric star gods were also killed and wounded. After Haoshan Yaokai took over the heaven, although it tried its best to maintain it, the time was too short. His subordinates are all weak soldiers and generals who haven't even figured out how to deal with heaven. Naturally, they have no intention of sorting out the starry sky. But now Su Junming looked at it from a distance with the Dian divine mirror. There were still demon monks stationed in the giant gate star. He didn't know whether it was the remnants of the demon court or outsiders occupying the magpie's nest. Su Junming's purpose was not here, and he didn't pay more attention to it. Activate the escape light, bypass the giant gate star and continue moving forward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1005. They say Wangshan is a dead horse, and Su Junming feels this way now. Even a little numb. In the prehistoric world, the main world is extremely huge. The surrounding stars are still the same, there are 365 main stars, excluding the largest sun star and lunar star. The remaining ones, picked out at random, are equivalent to the size of thousands of earthly immortals. As one of the 365 main stars, Jimin star is equally huge and incomparable. Su Junming admired the scenery of Jimengxing while rushing on the road. Frowning slightly. A series of escaping lights flew out from the giant gate star. Looking at the direction, she was still heading towards him. At first he thought he had encountered something blind, but when he got closer, he realized that he was being chased. A woman dressed in white, with a full moon-shaped spiritual treasure on her head, holding a long sword, struggled to resist the attacks from behind. Judging from the way she was panting, it was obvious that she had reached the end of her strength. If the people behind her hadn't killed her, I'm afraid she would have died long ago. Seventh Princess, you can't escape, just follow us back. A demon general who was over 10 feet tall and wearing green armor, with a leopard head and a body said loudly. Don't even think about it. Even if I die, I won't marry that bastard Fi'un, the woman in white said bitterly. Hey, it's not up to you. The demon general waved the spear in his hand, and the mighty wind roared, as fast as lightning, and instantly enveloped the woman in white. With his level of cultivation at the level of Dologo True Immortal, if he had not had any scruples, he would have captured the woman in white who had just advanced to Dologo Heavenly Immortal. Shua. A sharp sword light cut through Gangfeng. The woman in white was wrapped in Taiyan spiritual energy and rushed out in a panic. Hey, Seventh Princess. Your Taiyan sword is indeed a good treasure, but with your current power, how many times can you use it? The woman in white clenched her teeth tightly, looking at the demon army that quickly surrounded her and blocking her retreat, she said with hatred. Qingbao, my father took you well back then. Is this how you repay him? Do you treat me well? There was sarcasm on his face. What a joke. When I was on duty at the Long Hall during the heavenly banquet, I made the Eastern Emperor furious just because I broke a mere golden lamp. If Lord Chongming hadn't spoken, I have already been pushed to the demon-slaying platform. Imagine that I, King Bao, have been in heaven for 30 million years, working hard every day, self-denying and serving the public, and not daring to go beyond anything, but in the end I am not as good as a golden lamp. How can such Dong Huang Tai be worthy of my loyalty? He took a breath and looked at the woman in white coldly. Seventh Princess, you'd better go back with me today and marry Prince Chongming. You will enjoy endless wealth and splendor in the future. If not, don't blame me for being heavy-handed. The woman in white smiled sadly and clenched the sword in her hand. My parents are dead, and my sisters have also died fighting in heaven. What's the point of me surviving by chance? Come on, you're just going to die today. If you are stubborn, give it to me. With an order, all the demon soldiers urged the magic weapons in their hands. The overwhelming flames of swords and weapons swarmed in. The woman in white, whose oil was almost exhausted, did not resist. She slowly closed her eyes, with a relieved smile on her pretty face. Father, mother, sister, Zioki is here. I closed my eyes for a while and didn't notice any pain. Subconsciously he opened his eyes, but his whole body was still intact. Look around again. The swords, water, and fire, seemed to be frozen, maintaining the same posture as when they flew in, and stopped in mid-air. The hundreds of monster soldiers around him, as well as the Qingbao who was a Dologo True Immortal, still maintained the same posture as when they took action, and even the expressions on their faces were mostly excited. Seeing this strange scene, the woman in white was filled with shock. Before he could recover, whether it was Taoism or all the demon soldiers, they instantly transformed into flowing light and flew into a 3-foot-sized green gourd. After gathering the demons, the gourd shrunk to the size of a palm and fell into the waist of a young monk wearing linen clothes and holding a bamboo staff. Dong Huang Benjiun, thank you senior for saving your life. Are you the daughter of Dong Huang Tai and Wang Shu? After a moment of hesitation, Dong Huang Benjiun nodded. This junior is my father's 7th daughter. Su Junming was not interested in why she survived. Just to repay Dong Huang Tai's cause and effect. After all, I got a lot of benefits when I was in Kongsang Mountain. And there is a high chance of getting the chaos clock. He did it casually, saved his daughter's life, and felt more balanced. You go. Turn around and continue on your way. Looking at his back, Dong Huang Benjiun hesitated for a moment, then activated the light to chase after him. Senior, stay. Dong Huang Benjiun held the Taiyan sword horizontally in his hand. This junior is willing to give me the sword as a gift, and I also ask my senior to take this junior to the wild land. He glanced at the sword in her hand and thought to himself, this woman has a very clear mind. Although a top-notch Deluo Lingbao is precious, to him, it is nothing. You have a special status, and the ancient land is not a good place for you. The identity of the daughter of the Eastern Emperor can attract countless people with ulterior motives, especially those ambitious people from the demon clan who want to replace the Eastern Emperor and become the new demon emperor. This junior also knows, but this junior has nowhere to go, Dong Huang Benjiun said sadly. Why not go to the WA Palace? The Imperial Palace of WA is far away in chaos. I have never been there and don't know the path. Moreover, chaos is not a place I can set foot in. Su Junming nodded and reached out to take the Taiyan sword. With a wave of his hand, a sky-blue spiritual talisman flew into the hands of Dong Huang Benjiun. Activate it, and you will naturally return to the primitive world. He was not related to Dong Huang Benjiun, so saving her life was regarded as his reward for receiving Dong Huang Tai's physical body. As for sending her to WA Palace, he thought he was not that great yet. Hushan Talisman. Dong Huang Benjiun has been in heaven for a long time and has seen a lot, so he recognized him at a glance. As long as you recognize it. As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful aura suddenly came from Jimin Xingfei. Dong Huang Benjiun's expression suddenly changed. No, it's Demon Saint Chongming. Call out. The sound of phoenix chirping was earth-shattering. Yellow clouds, covering tens of thousands of miles, flew from the giant gate star with a compelling momentum. When I got closer, I discovered it. That cloud is a divine bird shaped like a rooster, with a yellow body and an earth-shattering momentum. Su Junming recognized it as the Chongming bird, an ancient divine beast. You won't run. Dong Huang Benjiun was also extremely confused in his heart. Although Demon Saint Chongming is not among the top 10 demon saints of the demon clan, he is still a senior Deluo golden immortal. She had occasionally heard her father say that within 300,000 years, the Chongming demon saint would have the qualifications to break into Hunyuan. But it hasn't advanced yet, and the Lich War has already broken out. After Gong Gong crashed into Buzhu Mountain, it retreated decisively, and in the process also captured himself, who was fighting against the Wu clan in the heaven. He hid all the way to Jimin Star and hibernated here. I have been recovering from my injuries for the past 30,000 years. As soon as he came out of seclusion, he ordered himself to marry his only son. Not to mention what happened to his son, if this demon took the lead in retreating and made the demon tribe's defense in heaven fall short, I would never be his daughter-in-law. Shua. A magnificent divine light flew down. Kongming Niao transformed into a middle-aged man nearly 10 feet tall and thin, with bulging cheekbones and deep and sharp eyes. After glancing at Dong Huang Benjiun, his eyes fell on Su Junming. Who are you? Why are you meddling in the internal affairs of our demon clan? I'm a poor Taoist, Su Junming. As for rescuing it, it just happened to be the right time. It just so happened that I owed some karma to Dong Huangtai, so I took action. There is an indescribable and powerful confidence in the calmness. Demon Saint Chongming looked at him deeply and suddenly laughed. You don't care about the person you're bragging about. You, how virtuous and capable you are, can't compare with His Majesty the Eastern Emperor. Those who know how to brag, please leave the 7th princess and my giant star demons and go on your own. A perfect existence of Deluo Xianxian, although it doesn't look like he has any background, but he still has to be on guard against it. Now is the sensitive period after the Lich War, and he doesn't want to cause trouble. I'm sorry, no, okay. Chongming Demon Saint's eyes turned cold. If this is the case, then die. Before he could finish his words, a strong warning appeared in his heart. Don't dare to be negligent and rush to activate the treasure. The next moment, an extremely sharp sword energy slashed straight towards the neck. Clang! The fierce sound of gold and iron clashed. A large bronze bell suddenly appeared above the head of Demon Saint Chongming. Although the sword energy was blocked, a powerful force came rolling in, and Demon Saint Chongming was instantly knocked away. He hurriedly activated his demonic energy to stabilize his body. Looking at the Taoist opposite, with a pair of black sword wings spread out behind him, he felt fear and anger in his heart. Just now I didn't hesitate any longer. That fierce and strange sword was enough to kill his own head. Do you know that bronze bell? Dong Huang Benjiun nodded and stared at Chongming Demon Saint angrily. For the safety of my mother and our 10 sisters, my father used Chaos Spirit Gold to worship 2 Eastern Emperor bells with reference to the Chaos Bell, my father's companion spirit treasure. Each byte is a medium-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure with 4 restrictions. What a shame, the old thief Chongming was cunning and took advantage of my mother being seriously injured by Xianming to take it away. As a result, my mother lost her precious treasure and died tragically at the hands of Xianming. Su Jun nodded clearly. Dong Huang Tai, who was rich in the ancient demon court, was able to make such a big deal. Despicable, actually sneak attack. Chongming Demon Saint said angrily. A person who betrays the Lord actually has the nerve to call others despicable. Su Junming was not taking the lead. Although this Dong Huang bell is just a replica, it has strong defensive capabilities. Although his Black Crow divine wings have been retrained to be faster, stronger in defense, and have increased killing capabilities, they still cannot break through the defense of the Dong Huang bell. Humph, I have sharp teeth and a sharp mouth. Let you know how powerful I am. Afraid of Su Junming's elusive speed, Demon Saint Chongming activated his magic power and shook the Dong Huang bell. Senior, be careful. In addition to its unparalleled defense, the Dong Huang bell sound also has powerful lethality, Dong Huang Benjiun said quickly. Bad maid. After scolding, he fiercely activated his magic power. The mighty bells, like a river bursting its banks, surged over overwhelmingly. Behind Su Junming, the Hunyuan Lingbao, which was renamed the Black God Sword Wings, unfolded with a swish, and the sword wings, which were 6 or 7 feet long, quickly formed a circle. No matter how tyrannical the bell sounded, it could not do anything to Su Junming. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1006. Under the protection of the Black God Sword Wings, Dong Huang Benjiun looked surprised. The defensive power of these black wings was beyond its expectation, and it could even block the sound of the Dong Huang bell. You need to know that this is a treasure refined according to the Chaos Bell, one of the 3 treasures of Kaishan. Even if it is just a simplified version of the simplified version, its power cannot be underestimated. Not only her, but also Chongming Demon Saint was a little unbelievable. Obviously my Dong Huang bell is stronger than this black sword wing, why can't I break its blockade? Spreading his wings, looking at his disbelief, Su Junming smiled. No matter how good the baby is, it all depends on who will use it. He personally trained the Black God Sword Wings, and as long as he had enough mana, he could exert 100% of its power. In the hands of Demon Saint Chongming, it would be good if the Dong Huang bell could exert 70% of its power. After all, it is not a natal spiritual treasure. It is not easy to completely master it. Moreover, the gap between the 2 restrictions is far from being as big as imagined. It's my turn. Su Junming said calmly. He clenched his right hand into sword fingers, placed it on his chest, and drank. Pan Tuo Divine Sword. Swish, 2 sword wings soared into the sky, and the bright sword light was like the sun and moon, extremely dazzling. Cut. The sword is pointed forward. The two sword wings fell together. The mighty sword light was like the Milky Way pouring down, overwhelming the sky and the earth, rushing toward the Chongming demon saint like lightning. The Pantuo divine sword is one of Su Junming's great magical powers in martial arts. It can be cut down with the help of its sword wings. The power is earth-shattering. Demon Saint Chongming looked solemn, and the power of these two swords exceeded his imagination. Not daring to neglect, after taking a deep breath, billowing mana poured into the Donghuang bell. The green-black bell suddenly expanded. Clang! The violent sound of gold and iron clashing shook the void for hundreds of millions of miles. The sword light flew away, like a firework exploding, beautiful and gorgeous against the backdrop of the endless void. Su Junming watched intently. The Donghuang bell is indeed a chaos spiritual treasure based on the chaos bell, and its defensive power is too strong. Even with the Black God sword wings combined with my natal magical power, I couldn't break it. Little did he know that he was amazed by Donghuang bell's defense, and Chongming demon saint was even more shocked by his tyranny. That sword was not only sharp, but also contained a power comparable to the top witch of the witch clan. The current attack directly consumed 30% of his mana. Looking at Su Junming, who was still looking full of energy thousands of feet away. Impossible, how could you still have such power? Smile lightly. Of course it is the effect of the magical power of rewarding good in the path of cause and effect. It seems that's all you have. Demon Saint Chongming looked ugly. You are indeed very strong, but if you think this is all I am capable of, you are totally wrong. Hey! A loud drink. Demon Saint Chongming, who was no longer able to hold back his strength, put 90% of the mana in his body into the Donghuang bell. Senior, be careful, the strongest point of Donghuang bell is. Boom. The earth-shattering bell rang, suppressing the unfinished words. At the same time, an extremely powerful sealing force spread rapidly, and everything in its path was instantly sealed. The Chaos Bell's defense is not as good as the Tai Chi 2, and its damage is not as lethal as the Pangu banner, but its strongest point is the seal. Pangu created the world, and as soon as the bell rang, everything in the world was frozen. Although the East Emperor Bell is not 1% as good as the Chaos Bell, its sealing power is already extremely powerful. Looking at the dull-looking man and woman who were frozen in the air, Demon Saint Chongming laughed, haha. No matter how tyrannical you are, you will still fall under my knees in the end. Before he finished speaking, 3 doors away behind him, a large black hole appeared from scratch, expanded rapidly, and turned into 100 feet in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a giant palm covered with red scales flew out from it. The joy of defeating a powerful enemy made him subconsciously relax his vigilance. But after all, he is a great demon with many years of experience, and his reaction speed is astonishingly fast. The Donghuang bell quickly enveloped it. The giant red-scaled palm seemed to strike slowly but quickly, and wrinkles appeared in the space wherever it passed. Boom! Amidst the shocking loud noise, Demon Saint Chongming felt an overwhelming force rolling towards him. With only 10% of his mana left, it was difficult for him to resist such huge power. Wow! A mouthful of blood spurted out. The Donghuang bell was blown away instantly like a giant rubber ball. Another big hole appeared, and a big hand covered with blue scales stretched out with lightning, grabbed the Donghuang bell, and quickly retracted it. The Chongming demon saint was dizzy, his chest was heavy, and his dead souls were rising. He had already felt the overwhelming strength of the master behind him from this giant palm. That is definitely the aura that only the Hunyuan power can have. He transformed into a Chongming bird and flew far away in a panic. The big red-scaled hand expanded instantly, and in a moment it turned into a giant palm tens of millions of feet high. Boom! Caught by the giant palm, Kongming Niao had no power to resist and was seriously injured. Then, like a dog, it was dragged into a big black hole by the red-scaled hands. The next moment the cave entrance disappeared, and the void returned to calm again. The power of the seal disappeared, and Dong Huang Benjiun breathed heavily with disbelief on his face. Chongming Demon Saint, a strong man who was infinitely close to Hunyuan in the demon court, and protected by the Dong Huang Bell, was easily defeated by a big red-scaled hand. The aura revealed by that big hand is like that of the witch clan. Turning to look to the side, the Taoist priest in linen clothes still looked calm at the beginning. Could it be him? No, it's impossible. He is a Suanman Chi practitioner, not a witch. It seems he doesn't know we have an enemy. Seeing Dong Huang Benjiun's scrutinizing eyes, Su Junming smiled calmly and said, "Thank you, senior, for saving me. Now that the danger is over, you can go." Dong Huang Benjiun hesitated for a moment, gritted his teeth, and suddenly fell to his knees. "Senior, Benjiun has nowhere to go. I hope you will accept me as your disciple for the sake of my merits." The fight just now had allowed her to fully understand the opponent's strength. Although he is a great Luo Tianxian, his strength is far inferior to that of his opponent. You are completely qualified to be your own master. Moreover, she could feel that the other party was somewhat kind to her. Instead of saving her out of use like the demon Saint Chongming had done in the past. Therefore, when there is nowhere to go, becoming a disciple of Su Junming is the best choice. You have excellent qualifications, and it is enough to become a disciple of a saint. However, I am a human race, and I have a deep hatred with your demon race. Although I have some connections with your father, saving your life is the limit. As for becoming a disciple, I still never mind. Among the 18 Buzhu Mountains, which one has no hatred against the demon clan? As the leader of the 18 tribes of Buzhu Mountain, how could he accept a demon clan as his disciple at this time? Dong Huang Benjiun's whole body was shocked. When he was about to say something, he found that Su Junming's figure had disappeared. Somewhat disappointed, I stood up and gathered my mood. He glanced at the moving talisman in his hand and put it away solemnly. Now that Chongming Demon Saint is dead and the life and death crisis has been eliminated, she is no longer in a hurry to escape. Keep this treasure for reuse in the future. Skip the Dong Huang Benjiun and fly to the prehistoric world. Su Junming activated the escape light, bypassed the giant gate star, and continued flying deep into the starry sky. He did not touch the remnants of the demon clan in the giant gate star. He had no interest in pure killing. Playing with the small green and black clock in his hand. From his current perspective, the Dong Huang bell was really not very well made. There are 4 Hunyuan restrictions purely because the chaos spiritual gold is so superior. It is many times easier to write 1,000 words on an A2 paper than on an A4 paper. Even with Su Junming's current level, it would be difficult to refine a spiritual treasure similar to the material grade. But if it is the Dong Huang bell, he is confident that he can refine the 5 restraints. If his level of weapon refining could be further improved, he would be able to refine 6 restraints or even the 7th restraint. However, what he was more curious about than getting a Hunyuan spiritual treasure was that he could use it to peek into the mystery of the Chaos Bell. After all, the Chaos Bell in Kongsang Mountain in the earthly immortal realm is still waiting for him to conquer. The more you understand, the more confident you will be in conquering it. However, Demon Saint Chongming disappointed him. Although the ancient monster beast Chongming bird is somewhat similar to the phoenix, it is not of the phoenix genus, but the blood descendants of the chaos gods and demons. Chongming Demon Saint's bloodline concentration was extremely good, but unfortunately it did not meet Su Junming's requirements. He wanted to use the essence and blood of Pangu's descendant to practice the Dushan divine banner and continue to improve and enhance the Dushan divine evil formation. Although the gods and demons trained by the chaos gods and demons sacrifice are also very strong, he does not have that much blood essence to support them. Bit off more than you can chew. After collecting 12 drops of essence and blood from Chongming Demon Saint, he transformed his body into the essence and blood, and used it to worship the gods and demons in the future. When he advances to Hunyuan in the time Dao, he can use these 12 drops of blood essence to transform into the real blood essence of the chaos demon god. Although you may not necessarily use it yourself, you can use it to exchange resources from others. In the prehistoric world, many people like this kind of treasure. Time passes year by year. Thousands of years later, Su Junming has penetrated deep into the ancient starry sky. The surroundings are becoming more and more desolate. Moreover, a weak acquired chaotic aura has appeared. Although it is still far away from the prehistoric starry sky crystal wall system. But there are no monks here anymore. After leaving the 109th teleportation altar on the rocky planet next to him, Su Junming finally saw his target. From a distance, it looks like a huge flat rock floating in the void. As the distance gets closer, the rocks get bigger and bigger. Gradually, a strong smell of blood appeared around him. The outline became clearer and clearer, and a ferocious dragon head appeared in his eyes. The dragon's head is green-black in color, and its two forked antlers are like two thick giant trees, reaching straight into the starry sky. His eyes were closed tightly, and two slender dragon whiskers, like dead pythons, hung quietly. The ferocious huge mouth reveals sharp teeth, as if it is ready to bite anyone at any time. Behind the dragon's head is not a slender dragon body, but a cracked tortoise shell. A sword marked tens of thousands of feet wide cut open the tortoise shell, which was hundreds of millions of feet thick, from the middle. Because of his line of sight, he couldn't see behind the tortoise shell. But a ball of tens of trillions of dirty blood, like an ocean, floated under the belly of the giant turtle. This blood essence is so rich that it exceeds the combined total of hundreds of billions of liches that Su Junming has collected in Mount Buzhu and its surrounding areas over the past 30,000 years. There are even 4 huge blood mouths on the front, back, left and right of this strange giant turtle, and blood is flowing. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1007. Look at the huge giant turtle, which is millions and trillions in size. There was a hint of expectation in his eyes. Use the escaping light to fly away. Once again, I experienced the feeling of running to death in Wangshan. It took Su Junming a full 300 years to reach this giant turtle, which was hundreds of times larger than Mount Buzhu. Now, he could no longer see the appearance of the giant turtle with his naked eyes. From a bird's eye view, it looks more like a huge and boundless continent. Endless acquired chaotic energy wraps around the body of this giant turtle. It is indeed the chaos god and demon. As soon as his heart moved, an old man with gray hair, short and fat figure, wearing a navy blue robe, appeared next to him. It can be seen from the appearance that he is somewhat similar to Su Junming. Is this the unlucky guy who was beheaded by Hung Jun and Nuwa and whose limbs were used to hold up the sky? Su Junming nodded. When Hung Jun and Nuwa killed the turtle, he used the Dian mirror to watch. Putting aside the shocking scene, the body of the divine turtle was not thrown in the north as in the legend, but was thrown deep into the starry sky by Hung Jun. Su Junming spent nearly 10,000 years this time going deep into the starry sky just for it. All the essence and blood have been taken away, leaving only this half-broken turtle shell that still has some value. Turned. Are you sure you want this pile of rotten flesh to be my legal body? Considering the tyrannical body of the chaos god and demon, although it has been dead for 40,000 years, the body of this divine turtle is still relatively fresh. Su Junming continued, furthermore, although repairing the physical body of this divine turtle requires a huge amount of spiritual energy and a long time, the starting point of the chaotic gods and demons is much higher than that of the innate gods. You don't even need to practice. As long as you can recover, you will be a Hunyuan Xianxian. If we take this turtle away, will Hung Jun notice? Su Junming frowned slightly. I don't know either. But I use the Dian mirror to cover my energy, so it shouldn't be so easy to detect. Besides, we can't restrain ourselves just because we're afraid of being discovered. If that's the case, how can we cultivate the Tao? Makes sense. Su Junming stretched out his hand. A green divine light flew high into the sky. In an instant, it turned into a tall divine gate. The divine gate grew taller and taller, reaching millions of feet, tens of millions of feet, 30 million feet, and did not stop until it reached billions of feet. The huge Hunyuan divine sect is like the reincarnation of the ancient times, powerful and mysterious, revealing the tyrannical aura of suppressing the past and the future, all over the world. Su Junming made several seals. A powerful spiritual light rushed up from the divine gate, and soon enveloped the blood under the divine turtle. Next moment, the hot, scorching black-red blood was like the Milky Way pouring out, rolling into the divine gate. It took Su Junming a full 300 years to collect all the blood left by the turtle. Then he used means to seal the bloody mouths of his limbs. Take back the Hunyuan divine gate. The light flew up, and Su Junming flew high into the sky. A small mountain covered with clouds and fog appeared above the head. It was the Chongshan residence where he practiced so hard. Soon a 3-foot-tall, green willow tree flew out of the hill. Exactly, the best innate spiritual root hollow willow. A vertical green light spread down. The vast light spread more and more, gradually covering the entire turtle. As the innate spiritual root of the space path, the hollow willow contains immeasurable space. Enough to put down this turtle corpse. Receive. The hollow willow shines brightly. The huge turtle corpse slowly flew up. Under the tyrannical power of space, hollow willow slowly shrunk. Then it became smaller and smaller, integrating into the main trunk of the willow. He took a deep breath, activated his magic power to restore his mana, then looked at the empty void world, stretched out his hand, and a space channel appeared, and he stepped into it. This is a magnificent azure space. There are no sun, moon, or stars in the sky, only a sky azure light. In this huge world, the deep blue Tianhe true water occupies nearly half of the space. The extremely rich water essence nourishes this world that is still growing. Sudden. The corpse of a giant black turtle fell from the sky. Boom. The heavy corpse was smashed by the water, and the waves turned upside down. But the body of this black giant turtle is too big. Even if the hollow willow has grown a lot compared to 40,000 years ago, the place can only accommodate the giant turtle carcass. The most I can do is stretch my head, twist my butt, and try to swim twice, but forget it. Of course, everything must come alive first. Summon the Dharmakaya that eliminates evil souls. Go ahead. My dear, are you sure? If this big guy is not alive, I will be unlucky. Once the seven spirits Dao body is integrated with the physical body, the spirit and body will be completely integrated. If you want to change your body midway, unless you use the innate fundamental energy to reshape it, there will be a gap between any physical body and the Yuanling. This kind of gap will make it difficult for them to reach the ultimate realm. If I didn't have absolute certainty, I wouldn't have spent thousands of years, traveled hundreds of millions of miles, and worked so hard to bring back this giant tortoise body. Seeing his confident look, Zhu Huipo gritted his teeth and flew towards the giant tribe. The two sides quickly integrated. Su Junming waved his right hand, and a space channel appeared in the void. The next moment, endless milky white water fell towards the giant turtle. The rich aura of innate creation turned into powerful vitality the moment it was integrated into the body of the giant turtle. The damaged meridians and organs in the body are repaired first. Gradually, where the limbs were broken, granulation grew and the bones continued to lengthen. Soon, 4 turtle claws with a diameter of tens of thousands of feet and a length of 1 million feet grew out. The 4 giant claws are big enough, but they are not even 1/1000th of the size of the fracture. It feels like the 2 front claws of a Tyrannosaurus rex, combined with its huge size. The difference is too far. After the four claws grew out, the bloody opening on the back began to close, first with flesh, and then with thick tortoise shell. But before the tortoise shell had completely healed, Su Junming's creative spiritual energy was exhausted. This is the creation spiritual energy that he has accumulated for 40,000 years in the creation spirit pool and creation green lotus. If all is used up, it will be enough to create several Deludo golden immortals. Now that they are all used up, they can only repair 3 points of the giant turtle's injuries. You can't even make it come alive. Fortunately, he had other preparations. Open your palms. A jade gourd blessed with numerous seals emerged. Carefully removing all the seals on the gourd, the jade gourd dissipated instantly. Only a ball of milky white spiritual liquid about the size of a wash basin was left on the spot. The rich charm of the Tao of creation made Su Junming unable to help but have the urge to swallow it and refine it. In the beginning, the fundamental energy of creation was created innately. A small part came from the earthly immortal world, and the rest he got from the nine-color spiritual fetus. Yang Mei originally wanted to give him the extra innate spiritual energy in the nine-color spiritual fetus. With this help, Su Junming was able to transform into the body of the innate spirit of Taoist. But after thinking about it, it was useless to him. With the help of yellow plum, hollow willow, good fortune green lotus, and innate polygonum multiflorum, 4 top-quality innate spiritual roots, and with the help of the abundant Taoist innate spiritual energy, even if he is not the body of the Taoist innate spirit, his cultivation speed will not be slow. With the icing on the cake, there is no need to waste such an important treasure. If he could allow non-poisoned souls to be reincarnated into the bodies of chaotic gods and demons, he would also have a good helper. There are too many powerful powers in this ancient world. Even if you are not Hunyuan, you dare not speak loudly. With a thought in his heart, he integrated the 2 fundamental talismans of heaven and creation into the fundamental chi of Taoist's innate creation, and pushed forward with both palms. The innate fundamental energy of creation, the size of a wash basin, slowly fell. The moment it merged into the turtle carcass, a vitality that was 10 times stronger than before erupted. The carapace, which originally healed slowly, grew rapidly and quickly became a whole. The tiny limbs swelled rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the diameter has exceeded 8 trillion miles, and the length has reached 50 trillion miles, which is close to 1/10 of the division's Buzhu Mountain. Although it is already very huge, it is still a lot smaller than the scars on both sides. Boom! It was dull and shook the entire space, like the sound of a giant drum being beaten. Su Junming stared closely at the huge heart of the giant turtle. Boom! The sound was louder. Dong dong! The heartbeat was getting louder and louder, and it was earth-shattering. Gradually, in the heart, which was larger than the mountain, a drop of golden red blood, tens of millions of feet in diameter, containing infinite life essence, slowly condensed and took shape. At the moment of its birth, the stagnant blood in the giant turtle slowly began to flow. Seeing this, Su Junming quickly opened the Hunyuan divine gate, and the turtle blood previously collected spurted out. Using the method of space, it transcended the barrier of the physical body and flowed directly into the huge heart of the giant turtle. With the blessing of blood, the internal organs also begin to recover. The huge vital energy was completely activated. Next moment, the closed dragon's eyes opened, and his eyes were as solid as the sun rising into the sky. The huge mouth opened. Roar! The earth-shattering roar was filled with infinite joy and majesty, as if announcing his arrival to the whole world. Suddenly, a big lump bulged out where the dragon's neck connected to its trunk. It was like a volcano erupting, rapidly expanding. Gradually, the big bag took shape. Sharp dragon teeth, dragon whiskers flying in the wind, sharp dragon eyes, and dragon horns shaped like antlers. The strange thing is that the scales of this dragon head are milky white, revealing the breath of creation and the light of holiness. At the same time, the color of the initial dragon head also gradually changed, and the blue-black scales gradually turned into dark red. One red and one white correspond to heaven's work and creation. Obviously, the innate spiritual energy from the beginning, combined with the heavenly talisman and the talisman of creation, completely changed the attributes of this turtle. After separating these two talismans, the only avenue left for Su Junming to practice is time, space, soul, seal, and martial arts. If everything goes well, wait until the last of the 7 Dharmakayas, the smelly Fei Po, is born. There are only 3 avenues left that he majored in. As for which 3 paths it is, it depends on the shape of the body. Look at the turtle whose appearance and aura have changed drastically. Even if Daezu and Nuwa come in person, they may not be able to recognize it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1008. Chongshan residence is in the pavilion beside the creation spirit pond in the backyard. Gilu. The light green tea quickly filled the teacup. The strong aroma of tea spreads, making people feel the urge to drink it all. Su Junming put down the teapot and handed the teacup to the short, fat old man next to him wearing a purple Taoist robe, with gray hair and round features. The latter has a gold rope tied around his waist and a green gourd hanging from it. Wait for him to take the teacup. How does it feel? It's not bad, it tastes pretty good. She glanced at him and said calmly, you know that's not what I asked. After the old man drank all the tea in the cup, he leaned back. An invisible force appeared behind him, and his body tilted, making him feel uncomfortable. The physical injury is no longer fatal, and 3 drops of blood essence have been generated, but it is still far from the 18 drops of the chaos god and demon. It will take a long time to fully recover. Tiangong Dao is proud of your sharing. Now Hunyuan Celestial Immortal has reached perfection, which is not bad. Creation Dao is only in the middle stage of Deluo Jinxian, which is too far behind. My Yuanling, just like you, is a Deluo Xian Immortal. But I will soon be able to overcome the tribulation and become a Deluo Golden Immortal. But there is still a long way to go to control that huge physical body. Even if you advance to Hunyuan, you can only master it initially. To fully master it, you have to be a Hunyuan Xianxian who is in balance with the strength of the physical body. So, for me at this stage, the most suitable way of practice can be described in 6 words. Eat and sleep, sleep and eat. Seeing his lazy look, Su Junming frowned. The reason why he gave up the Dao of Tiangong and the Dao of creation to the other party was that he hoped that having multiple helpers would save a lot of time when the time comes to refine elixirs and weapons. Now it seems that he is going to be disappointed. With a wave of his hand, a purple copper furnace and a large bronze bell flew over. I have refined the Zizi furnace into a low-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure, and I will also give it to you with the Dong Huang bell. As for your natal creation spiritual treasure, you can refine it yourself. From now on, you will give me 108 pills of Deluo Ren Huang Dan, 81 pills of Deluo Di Huang pill, 63 pills of Deluo Tian Huang pill, and Deluo 3 emperors every 5 years. 49 pills, 9 pills of Hunyuan Ren Huangdan. The old man was dumbfounded, jumped up with a shua, his beard curled up angrily, his sword pointed directly at the tip of Su Junming's nose, and his tone was angry. It's not fair. You are bullying the old, weak, sick, and disabled. Su Junming was unmoved. Don't forget, although the Tiangong talisman was given to you, I can also use it. With the power of Zizi furnace, supplemented by the great natal divine power of Tiangong Dao, Tiangong divine hammer, and the natal great divine power of creation Dao, Zhaoxing aura, the success rate of alchemy increases by 30%. In 5 years, you can refine more than twice the elixir I mentioned. The two men's eyes met, and the old man was quickly defeated. If I use it all to make elixirs, how can I have time to practice? How can I repair my physical body? How can I improve my realm? You can take the extra elixirs by yourself. In addition, don't you have the great magical power of the creation body? With this elixir, you can just sleep and practice. Refining Qi to advance to Yuan Yang to Tai, and Tai to Deluo, all will understand a natal magical power from the way of heaven. For all monks, this is their strongest Taoist method. As far as the Tao of creation is concerned, the first magical power that Su Junming realized was the aura of creation, which can not only bless the Taoism and double its power, but can also be used to refine elixirs, bless magical weapons, etc. The second magical power is called the body of creation, which can be represented by objects. Using magical instruments, spiritual roots, etc. as support, you can change your body shape and walk in the world of practice. Just like the current Dharma body for eliminating evil spirits, his original body, the black turtle, is still practicing in the hollow willow. This physical body is transformed with the help of the green bamboo staff. The third magical power of the Tao of creation is called resurrection from the dead. As long as there is a remnant soul left, and the realm of the remnant soul does not exceed the realm of Taoism, it can be reborn. However, this magical power consumes too much, and Su Junming has not used it once since he awakened. I really regret coming to drink your cup of tea. If I had known better, I would have slept in the hollow willow. It's not like I don't have legs. And even if you fall asleep, I can still get you up. Okay, okay. Who told you to be me? Su Junming smiled calmly. Have you thought about your Taoist number and name? Certainly. The old man smiled proudly. This real person will henceforth be known as the true Lord of creation, and his surname will be Tian and Gong. Taijin created the true king and created heaven. Of course. Su Junming nodded. It's just a name, don't get too hung up on it. From the corner of his eye, he saw only a shallow layer of the creation spirit pond, and he sighed in his heart. I don't know how long it will take to get back to the old outlook. Zongnan Mountain, which spans more than 600 billion miles, is the first of the 72 blessed lands in the prehistoric times. Explain the dojo of Yun Zongzi, a disciple of Yuanqi Tianzun. Although he was only a registered disciple, due to Yuanqi Tianzun's temperament and the majesty of the saint, no one dared to come here to disturb him. However, a visitor came today. The azure light, like a falling star, soon reached the depths of Zongnan Mountain. After noticing the formation, the light stopped, and a man wearing blue-gray linen clothes, holding a bamboo stick and a green tie around his waist walked out. Gord, a tall monk. With a flick of his finger, a burst of spiritual light shot out, and after crossing 100 feet, it was blocked by an invisible barrier. Not long after, a Taoist boy wearing a water-fire Taoist robe and carrying a magic sword suddenly appeared in mid-air. He looked Su Junming up and down for a while and then cupped his hands. Is the immortal chief invited? This is the Taoist temple of immortal master Yun Zongzi under the Chan section. Fairy boy, you are polite. Your master and I are old acquaintances. I came here to visit you today. Please tell me, fairy boy. An old acquaintance of the master, he looked at Su Junming in surprise. I don't know the name of the immortal. Where is the immortal hometown? You only need to tell your master that an old friend from Buzoutian is visiting, and he will know about me. The Taoist boy nodded. Immortal, please wait for a moment. Easy to say. After the Taoist boy bowed his head, he made a seal and disappeared instantly. It is a rare thing for a good disciple trained by fellow Taoist Yun Zongzi to be a young man, backed by a high-ranking family, and not arrogant or impetuous in his dealings with others. After a short time, The empty place 100 feet away began to ripple like water droplets in a lotus pond. The next moment, a large area of fairyland and beautiful water appeared in front of us. And Yunzongzi, who was wearing a feathered coat and a high crown, held Fukan in his hand and came forward with an excited expression. "Fellow Taoist Su, it is indeed you." "Haha, fellow Taoist Yun, tens of thousands of years have passed. You are fine." "Excuse me, fellow Taoist, for worrying about me. Everything is going well, Pandeo. Please come in quickly. Please." The two of them walked away. Under the leadership of Yun Zongzi, Dongguan crossed the fairy mountain and landed in a beautiful valley. Moving forward along the stone road, a cave 3 feet wide appeared in front of us. Looking up, there are 3 character sacred inscriptions listed on the lintel above. "Yuja Cave. Fellow Taoist, please. Please. Step inside." A flower in front of my eyes. The extremely thick innate spiritual energy surrounded him, and a strange scene appeared in front of him. Large and small emerald-colored jade pillars are listed in the sea of clouds. The big ones stand thousands of feet tall, while the small ones are hundreds of feet tall. Su Junming was proficient in formations, and he quickly sensed a powerful formation from the placement of these jade pillars. "Fellow Taoist, this Taoist temple is indeed the most blessed place in the world. It is rich in spiritual energy, has pleasant scenery, is aloof from the outside world, and avoids the hustle and bustle of the world. It is really an excellent place for me, a Suanman monk, to cultivate my moral character." "What are you talking about, fellow Taoist? If I want to say envy, it is only I who envy my fellow Taoist. Understand the Tao of Hu Tian, open up a cave with you, and travel around the world without having to sleep in the wilderness. Traveling is too empty, without having to worry about the worries at home. Do whatever you want and be happy. Wherever you go, go there. This is the great freedom and freedom of people in my Suanman." The two of them looked at each other and laughed. "The two of us are deeply in love, so we don't need to care about these external things." "Please," Yun Zongzi said. "Please. Urge the escape light to continue moving forward." After getting closer, Su Junming saw clearly that the so-called jade pillars were not real pillars made of beautiful jade. Instead, there are densely packed apricot trees with intertwining branches and vines, covering the rocks behind. So much so that when viewed from a distance, it looks like a jade pillar. When you get closer, you can see a stone pillar with a diameter of tens of thousands of feet rising from the ground in the center of the cave. A huge waterfall flew straight down from the top. After falling into the clouds, it stirred up thousands of feet of water waves and stirred up endless clouds, which was spectacular. Under the leadership of Yun Zongzi, we came to the top of the highest stone pillar. What you can see is just a sparse apricot forest. On the east side of the apricot forest is a large lake. The lake water flows down from one side and turns into a waterfall. Follow the stone road through the apricot forest and come inside, and a simple thatched hut appears in front of you. In front and behind the hut, there were some elixirs, but nothing of the highest quality. It can be seen that Yun Zongzi is not good at refining pills. This is also understandable. Except for people like Su Junming who possess great treasures, there are very few monks who can comprehend alchemy, weapon refining, and ritual formation at the same time to a high level. "Please." Su Junming strode in. A powerful forbidden law was also cast in the hut, and the interior space seemed larger than the outside. Obviously, Yun Neutron also has a certain understanding of the way of space. In fact, anyone who can advance to Deluo can easily understand the various avenues and get started. But it's easy to learn but hard to master, and not many people want to be distracted. However, Yun Zongzi is good at refining weapons, so he naturally knows more than ordinary monks. My three-legged cat's kung fu is far worse than that of my fellow Taoist. Back in Buzhu Mountain, Su Junming had seen too many times how a gourd captured thousands of Tianhe waters. This was the first time he had seen a monk who could comprehend the way of Hushan to the realm of Deluo. My fellow Taoists use water and fire to enter the Tao, and I use the pot and sky to enter the Tao. You and I each have our own strengths. Yun Zongzi smiled and came to the main hall, where the two of them sat down respectively. Tong serve tea. A Taoist boy with a headband in his head bowed respectfully, made tea and brought it over. Fellow Taoist, this is the apricot blossom spirit tea I brewed by myself. Although it is not top-notch, it is still a wonderful product. Then I want to have a good taste. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1009. After 3 rounds of tea, Su Junming put down the teacup. Opening his left palm, 8 fire pillars embossed with dragon patterns appeared. Fellow Taoist has kept this treasure with me for 40,000 years and has yet to take it away. I had no choice but to send it to fellow Taoist. A deep look of shame appeared on Yun Zongzi's face. Fellow Taoist Su, I really don't have the face to see you. Over the past 40,000 years, I have looked for my teacher many times. Unfortunately, he has been in seclusion and it is difficult to meet him. I went to Lingju Mountain and the formation was opened. I tried several times but couldn't get through. So ashamed. Fellow Taoist, this must be the case. If you can't get your things back now, you'll just have to find another chance later. With a wave of his hand, he returned the 8 Tongtian divine fire pillars. This is because I have owed a debt to fellow Taoist monks. This treasure has the right to be used as compensation. How can I take it back? My fellow Taoist, what you said is wrong. You and I have the same temperament, the same spirit, and are close friends with each other. The deep love and friendship cannot be compared with even the precious innate spiritual treasures. Don't say there is still a chance to get the jade ruler back. Even if I can't get it back, I don't want to hurt my friendship with my fellow Taoists. Seeing the sincerity of what he said, Yun Zongzi said with emotion, having such a close friend as a fellow Taoist, Yun Zongzi will die without regrets. Haha. My Taoist friends have advanced realms, strong Taoist teachings, and profound merits. If you want to perish, I'm afraid it will be difficult. Yun Zongzi smiled. Just as he was about to speak, the boy guarding the mountain whom Su Junming had met once came galloping over. Master, Uncle Anji is here to visit. Please. Yes. Fellow Taoist, senior brother Nanji is the earliest second-generation disciple of my teaching. Although he is not a direct descendant, he is modest, loyal, and compassionate in his heart. He is the most respected among his disciples. The great disciple of Chan Xiao, the Antarctic immortal, has been famous as a poor Taoist for a long time. I never expected to see him today. Yun Zongzi nodded. Fellow Taoist, please stay here for a moment. I'll be back soon. No need, I will go with my Taoist friends to greet you. Yun Zongzi did not object, and the two of them left the thatched hut and came to the outside of the apricot forest. Not long after, they saw the Taoist boy who had left earlier, leading a Sika deer and walking on the clouds. On the deer's back, there sat an old man wearing a white robe, with a raised forehead, white beard and hair, carrying a wooden staff, and an immortal spirit. When he got close, he flew down. Junior brother Yun Zongzi. Senior brother Nanji, the jade toe has come, and my Yuja cave is shining brightly today. After the two junior brothers said hello, the Antarctic immortal turned his attention to Su Junming. It seems that junior brother has some distinguished guests here. Let me introduce you, this is my best friend in Buzhu Mountain, the true lord of Chongshan, Su Junming, Taoist fellow Su. Fellow Taoist Su has profound Taoism. He has spent tens of thousands of people repairing Buzhu Mountain, clearing away diseases, and rescuing the human race, and has accumulated great merits. Antarctic immortal had a look of surprise on his face. He didn't know Su Junming, but he knew his junior brother. Although Yun Zongzi was not the direct descendant of Chan Xiao, he was noble in nature and had a strong understanding. His cultivation was among the best among the second-generation disciples of Chan Xiao. There are very few people that he can praise without hesitation and make friends with him wholeheartedly. It must be extraordinary for Su Junming to be so praised by him. A slap in the face. I traveled to Antarctica and met fellow Taoist Su. I have heard that the Antarctic immortal man taught by Su Wen is profound in Taoism, has a loyal nature, and has always been dignified. This is indeed the case when I see you today. I'm glad to meet you. I'm glad to meet you. Fellow Taoist Su, thank you very much. Senior brother, fellow Taoist Su, please come inside. Please. The three of them returned to the hut again, and the Taoist boy served them tea. Senior brother is not serving master in Kunlun Mountain, how can he have time to come to my place? Master issued a decree to let junior brother Guangcheng bear the golden bell. I was about to return to the Antarctic dojo, and happened to pass by junior brother, so I came to take a look. Yun Zongzi's eyes lit up. Master is out of seclusion. Never. The Antarctic immortal's eyes flashed and he slowly shook his head. Master's retreat often lasts for tens of thousands of years. Junior brother knows that. Yun Zongzi sighed in disappointment. Junior brother, please be patient and don't be impatient. The master will be released from confinement at some point. When the time comes, junior brother will just report. That's all we have to do. Yun Zongzi turned his head with a solemn expression. Fellow Taoist Su, don't worry. I will definitely give you an explanation for the Buzhu Mountain incident in the future. Fellow Taoist Yun Zhong, don't worry too much about this matter. In the final analysis, it's not your fault, Su Junming said with a smile. Uncle Ran Deng, risking the disapproval of the world, took the treasures from you and me by force, and I have something to teach my disciples, so it is my duty to do so, Yun Zongzi affirmed. Junior brother, what do you mean by this? Master Rendeng robbed you and fellow Taoist Su of their treasures, the Antarctic immortal asked in surprise. Yes. 40,000 years ago, not long after the Lich War, Taoist Su and I worked together to repair Buzhu Mountain. As a result, we discovered a top-quality innate spiritual treasure in a valley. I never thought that the innate formation protecting the spiritual treasure had just been broken. Uncle Ran Den used my teaching magical power innate chi great grasping to take away the treasure. I originally wanted to meet my teacher and explain the matter. Please give me justice, master. I never thought that my teacher would always be in seclusion, and the matter has been delayed to this day. I really have no face-to-face fellow Taoist. Su Yun Zongzi's tone was filled with anger. I see. The Antarctic immortal nodded and turned his eyes. Don't worry, fellow Taoist Su, my Chan Jiao is a direct descendant of Suanmen, a descendant of Taoist ancestors, and has always upheld the righteous way. If it is as junior brother Yun Zong said, Chan Jiao will definitely give you justice. Of course Pandeo can trust the reputation and conduct of Chan Jiao, Su Junming said with a smile. Compared to Yun Zongzi, one of the four emperors of later generations, the Antarctic immortal emperor, the city was much deeper. Moreover, his words are like a spring breeze, and his words are sincere, making people feel close to him subconsciously. His cultivation level is also higher than that of Yun Zongzi and him, and he is now in the Delugo Golden Immortal realm. Although it seems that the breakthrough did not take long. But after the Lich War, many strong men fell. The powerful dragon of Hunyuan has seen its tail but not its head, and Delugo Jinxian is already a rare strong man in today's prehistoric times. Moreover, among the three Taoist religions and Western religions, there are still only a few second-generation disciples who can advance to Delugo. However, in comparison, he is more willing to make friends with real Akage people like Yun Zongzi. Junior brother Yun Zong, fellow Taoist Su, it's rare for us to get together today, how about we discuss Tao? Yunzongzi looked at Su Junming, his eyes full of questions. Smile lightly. It's rare to have such an opportunity, and I can only dream of it. Haha, let's get started. After a pause, since it's Pandeo's suggestion, I'll start by throwing some light on it. A rush of mana. Half an acre of Qingyun flew out from above the head, and 3 huge 9th-grade white lotuses bloomed, with a light golden jade ruyi held on the lotus stand in the middle. The strong pure Yang Dao rhyme bloomed from it. It turns out to be Chun Yang Dao. On the left is a long sword, entwined with rich innate sword energy. It is obviously a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. On the right side is a fan, red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple, blooming with rich flame aura. This is a low-grade Hunyuan Lingbao. I think this is the 5 fires and 7 feathers fan that symbolizes the apotheosis of gods. He had reason to suspect that Yuanshi Tianzun had refined 2 similar magic weapons, and gave one to his eldest disciple, Antarctic Immortal, and the other to his 12th direct disciple, Kingxiu Dao Dejinjun. The fame of the 5 fires and 7 birds fan can be said to be famous throughout Pangu and the 3,000 worlds after becoming a god. Although he has never seen this flame spirit treasure, he can guess from the name that the functions of the 2 are not much different. The 3 of them released Qingyun at the same time. However, Yunzongzi and Antarctic Immortal Weng did not expect Su Junming to have the Dian mirror to see their secrets clearly. 1 or 2 people looked around and saw that 3 feet above Su Junming's Beihui point, about half an acre of sky blue clouds were floating, and they were hazy and hard to see clearly. The 3 Qingyuns quickly connected with each other. Qingyun, lotus, and Taoist fruit are all manifestations of one person's Taoism. When Qingyun and Qingyun are connected together, you can feel each other's Taoist fruit in detail and quickly improve your own understanding. This is the most effective way to preach. It is much better than speaking it with your mouth and hearing it in your ears. After all, the road is vast, and what I say may not be what I want, but what I can understand in my heart must be what is most suitable for me. It has to be said that Antarctic Immortal Weng and Yunzongzi are both extremely talented people. They also have saint teachers like Yuanshi Tianzun, and their moral conduct is not low. Both the pure Yang Dao and the water and fire Dao have comprehended the Deluo Golden Immortal realm. Especially the Antarctic Immortal, whose ability surpasses the 12 Golden Immortals and Yunzongzi, and becomes the number 1 person in the 2nd generation of Chan cult. It is not unreasonable. In addition to surpassing his peers in cultivation, his understanding of the pure Yang Wei has reached the late stage of Deluo Jingxian. With the help of the Dian Divine Mirror, Su Junming made rapid progress in the way of pure Yang and the way of water and fire. Renwuji and Dragon Emperor, as the 7-soul Taoist bodies, share the Tao of Yin and Yang and the Tao of the 5 elements with Su Junming. The Tao of pure Yang is a component of the Tao of Yin and Yang, and the Tao of water and fire is a component of the 5 elements Tao. Now these 3 advancements mean that the practices of Renwuji and Long Emperor are also improving rapidly. In contrast, without the divine weapon of heaven and earth like the Dian Divine Mirror, Antarctic Immortal Weng and Yunzongzi were much slower in comprehending Huishan Taoism. Moreover, it is the Huishan Taoism that is more obscure than the ordinary Taoism. The 3 of them talked about it for 1,000 years. In Deluo realm, every time you improve a little bit more, it takes a lot of time, which is different from Tai realm. Shua, the 6-path-like gaze gradually dimmed. The clouds above the heads of the 3 people slowly converged, and the mysterious Taoist charm slowly dissipated. The Antarctic Immortal was a little disappointed. He originally wanted to take this rare opportunity to get a glimpse of the mystery of Huishan Dao. Unexpectedly, the other party took the initiative to stop preaching. There was no way, he had to stop. Why did fellow Daoists stop? The Antarctic Immortal couldn't help but ask. 1,000 years have passed, but Pandeo still has important things to do, so I have to reluctantly end it. He has already exhausted the inventory of the 2 of them, and there is nothing to gain if he continues, so why would he continue to waste time? After that, he stood up. Fellow Taoist Yun, fellow Taoist Antarctic, I still have important matters to deal with. There is not much time left, so it will be delayed. I will say goodbye now. When I have time in the future, I will discuss the Tao with two more friends. Fellow Taoist matters are important. There will be many opportunities in the future to preach Taoism and mysteries, Yun Zongzi said. Su Junming smiled and nodded, then slapped his head. Farewell. I'll see you off, fellow Taoist. Thanks to book friend 1411121749450001 for the 1000 starting coin reward. Thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1010. Yun Zongzi and Antarctic immortal Wang personally sent Su Junming out of Yuzha cave. Looking at the light that quickly disappeared into the distance, after a long time, the Antarctic immortal said slowly, "Junior brother, do you know whose sect this fellow Taoist Su comes from?" Fellow Taoist Su calls himself a casual cultivator and has no disciples. No master? Junior brother, do you believe it? Yun Zongzi frowned slightly. What does senior brother mean? The Hushan Dao is the ultimate way of heaven and earth. From the beginning of time to the present, very few have been able to understand it. This fellow Taoist Su can understand the Hushan Dao to the ultimate level of Daluo. How could he not have a master to follow him? A casual cultivator can understand Hushan Dao to Daluo. This kind of talent is too scary. The Antarctic immortal thinks very highly of himself and does not believe that there is anyone among his peers with such qualifications that far exceeds his own. Although Yun Zongzi was kind-hearted, he was not a fool. He was keenly aware of the jealousy deep in the Antarctic immortal's words. There is one more thing. I couldn't ask more when Taoist fellow Su was here just now. Please give me some instructions, senior brother. Junior brother said that Master Rendang took away the innate spiritual treasure that you and fellow Taoist Su discovered first. I wonder if there is any evidence. Yun Zongzi's tone turned cold. Could it be that senior brother thinks I can't lie? Haha, junior brother has misunderstood. Others cannot trust junior brother's character, but I can still trust him. There was a pause. But everything requires evidence, especially junior brother and Uncle Randang are both disciples of our section. If there is no evidence, it will be partial to one side, and it will be difficult to explain to others. So senior brother asked me to reveal this matter. The Antarctic immortal smiled indifferently, spread out his left palm, and a long sword as clear as water appeared in his palm. With the strong sword energy and powerful aura, Yun Zongzi instantly recognized that this was a low-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure. Its power is not much inferior to that of an inferior, top-quality innate spiritual treasure. The name of this sword is Zhao Dan sword. It possesses 3 Hunyuan spiritual taboos. It was made by my master using Hanming Jingjing iron, which he spent hundreds of years personally practicing. It is powerful and powerful. Originally, my mentor wanted to personally give the sword to my junior brother, but this retreat has not been completed yet and has not been able to do so. This time, knowing that I will pass by Zongnan Mountain when I return to the Antarctic Light Realm, he asked me to bring it to my junior brother. Staring at the cyan sword handed to him, Yun Zongzi would have been delighted under normal circumstances, but now he only felt anger piling up in his heart. He is not a fool and knows that master is trying to calm things down. Junior brother, you haven't picked up the sword yet. One word calmed Yun Zongzi down. Having been a disciple of Chan for many years, he was very familiar with his master's character. Since he gave this sword, he has settled this matter. If he persists in persisting in the future, he will be ignorant of good and evil. Although he will not be expelled from the school, he will become increasingly marginalized. After taking a deep breath, he stood facing west. Yun Zongzi would like to thank my mentor for this sword. Take it with both hands. A sword made him feel as heavy as a mountain. Junior brother, No matter whether Uncle Randeng takes your treasure or not, this sword shows that my mentor values you. You should be careful in your words and deeds in the future and practice well. Be careful in your words and deeds. The deliberately emphasized tone can be described as a quite obvious knock. Remember senior brother's teachings. But I don't know, does Master have anything to say about fellow Taoist Su? He looked at him deeply. Junior brother, senior brother Randeng is the deputy leader of our Chan cult. He has a respected position, a high level of cultivation, and a kind-hearted nature. He will definitely not do anything to collect treasures from many people. Of course, I am not accusing my junior brother of lying. But, junior brother, have you ever thought about it? It is possible that someone pretended to be Master Randeng. The purpose is to confuse the public and confuse the internal affairs of my teaching, in order to achieve ulterior motives. In Chi Great Capture, not only my disciples can use it. Yun Zongzi was startled. Senior brother, do you mean to intercept the teaching? Although the separation of the Sanking family had just passed, the conflicts between the two sects of Jaichen had not diminished. As for the human sect, Master Bo Taking, Taoist master, only has a disciple of Master Suandu. His family is rich and there is no need to rob him. On the contrary, it was the Jijiao who came to the court from 10,000 immortals. They had too many disciples and not enough treasures. They had done things like robbing other people's spiritual treasures when they were in Kunlun Mountain. They must be these furry, horned, wet-born people who turned into eggs, the Antarctic immortal said angrily. As the great disciple of Yuanqi Tianzun, he perfectly inherited his attitude towards Jijiao. Hearing this, Yun Zongzi also murmured in his heart. Disciples of Jijiao can indeed grab with innate energy. He patted Yun Zongzi on the shoulder, his tone extremely affirmative. Junior brother, the one I want to explain to you and fellow Taoist Su is none other than Jijiao. Thank you, senior brother, for reminding me. I will definitely investigate clearly at this time. Okay, if you need me, senior brother, just tell me. Thank you, senior brother. Although Yun Zongzi said this, he still felt that Randeng was the most suspicious. Without it, the second-generation disciple of Jijiao, the strongest Duobao Taoist, would only be in the middle stage of Deluo Jingxian. He grabbed the treasure from himself and Su Junming and escaped, and was able to escape from his own perception range in a very short period of time. Deluo Jingxian can do it, but there are very few Deluo Jingxian who can do this. It would be impossible to intercept and teach those people, but the chance is too small. Only Hunyuan could instantly overwhelm the two of them and take away the treasure. After seeing off the Antarctic immortal, Yun Zongzi's eyes gradually became firmer. He understood that unless he got absolute evidence, even if he saw his teacher Yuanqi Tianzun, it would not help. Well, in the final analysis, it comes down to strength and cultivation. Looking at the Zhao Dan sword in his hand, he saw that it was a treasure given by his teacher. He did not dare to compensate Su Junming, otherwise he would just cause trouble for his best friend. I can't say, I can only use that thing. After leaving Zongnan Mountain, Su Junming looked to the west. That is the direction of Lingju Mountain. After some hesitation, he still resisted the idea of putting out the burning lamp. With Pangu sword, Black God sword wings, Xianyuan water-controlling flag, Dian divine mirror and other treasures in hand, even if he takes back the Qincan ruler from Randeng, it will only be one more medium-quality innate spiritual treasure. It may not be of great use. On the contrary, with his current magic power and Taoism, if he wants to subdue the Randeng Taoist, he must expose the Dushan god-demon banner that he has painstakingly cultivated. 40,000 years have just passed since the Lich War, but the shocking power of the 12 capitals' divine evil formation is still deeply engraved in everyone's memory. As long as he shows the Dushan god-demon flag, anyone with a discerning eye will understand what it is. When the time comes, not only the Lich and Witch clans will come looking for them, but also those Hunyuan people left over from the ancient times, and ancient times will also be unable to help but come looking for them. In order to completely master the Dushan Shensha formation, even if he could fight off a few, he would be swallowed up by the remaining ones. And there are saints who are above us. Especially Zunti Nasai. Saying this treasure is destined to me really puts an end to everything. Therefore, unless he was on the verge of life and death, Su Junming would never expose Dushan Shen Mo Banner's trump card. There is a serious imbalance between effort and reward. Naturally, he would not be stupid enough to go to Lingju Mountain now. For the sake of the battle of spirits, we will ignore it. He is past that age. Just about to urge Dun Guang to leave. Fellow Taoist, stay. A familiar voice came from behind. Turning around to look, Yun Zongzi chased after him. Fortunately, my fellow Taoist didn't go too far, otherwise the old Taoist would have had to travel a lot more. Where are you from, fellow Taoist? Come here just for this. With that said, Yun Zongzi took out a wooden box with several sealing charms attached to it from the magic bag. This is. Yun Zongzi's heart moved, and a space barrier isolated the two of them from the outside world. Thanks to his previous discussion with Su Junming, he has gained a lot of understanding of the way of Hushan, and now he has also learned the magical power to open up the mustard space. Compared to Su Junming, he is too immature. However, it works. When the seal on the box was removed and opened, a strong spiritual light of merit bloomed. Wrapped in the aura, a long withered yellow vine was coiled around it. As soon as Su Junming's consciousness touched, countless illusions appeared in his mind. Countless scenes of human gathering, hunting, and sacrifice were revealed. He quickly withdrew his consciousness. Fellow Taoist, what is this? This is a whip for making people. Su Junming did not interrupt. In the ancient times, the human race was fighting against all other races. The Kangli clan of the Emperor of Heaven, the Yujian clan of the Earth Emperor, and the Juda clan of the Human Emperor all died in battle in Buzhu Mountain. The ancestral land of Wangwushan Cave Heaven was conquered by the Demon clan, and thousands of human clans were destroyed. Slaughter them all. Sage Nuwa collected the blood of the three emperors and thousands of ancient human races, used the three light divine water and the nine sky breath to reshape the human race outside Buzhu Mountain. The Swiren clan, the Yosheo clan and the Mianyi clan were the three ancient human clan emperors. With the help of the merit of creating a human being, Master Nuwa was able to become a saint. Because I had the merit of providing the three light divine water, my uncle gave me this human creation whip. Now, I have no evidence from Uncle Randeng to return the innate spiritual treasure of Mount Buzhu. The master has given me a Hunyuan spiritual treasure and told me not to mention it again. The old Taoist can't think of anything. He feels that he has done something wrong to his fellow Taoist, so he should repay it with this human creation whip. Fellow Taoist, this human creating whip is a sacred weapon of human virtue, and its power is no less powerful than the Hunyuan Lingbao. Are you really willing to give it up? Su Junming said. But be clear of guilt in your heart, otherwise your food will be tasteless and your sleep will be restless. Over time, inner demons will arise secretly, and no matter how good the treasure is, it will be fleeting. Looking at Yun Zongzi's calm eyes, Su Junming couldn't help but admire him. If it were him, he would definitely not be in such a good mood. Please, fellow Taoist, accept this treasure and it will help me. Looking at the artificial whip handed to him, he pondered for a moment. The loss of the Buzhu Mountain spiritual treasure is not the fault of fellow Taoists. Yun Zongzi was about to speak, but was interrupted by him waving his hand. Fellow Taoist, although you are a member of the Chan cult, maintaining the reputation of the Chan cult is not your responsibility alone. As he said that, he grabbed Yun Zongzi's right arm and felt something in his heart. Yun Zongzi only felt a blur of flowers in front of his eyes. When he saw him again, he was already in a wide hall. Feeling the strong aura of this place, I understood instantly. Is this the Taoist monastery? Su Junming nodded slowly. I originally waited for the Taoist friends to come together after the incident at Buzhu Mountain was over, but I didn't expect that something unexpected happened midway. Please. Under his leadership, the two walked out of the Kongshanju main hall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1011. Outside the main hall is a courtyard of 400 to 500 square meters, paved with stone slabs. There is a leafy pomegranate tree planted in the middle of the yard. There is a deck chair under the tree, and not far away are a round stone table and several stone benches. Around the yard, there are blooming flowers and swarms of bees dancing together. Yun Zongzi is also a well-informed person, and he can tell at a glance that whether it is the pomegranate tree, these flowers, or the bees, they are all rare spiritual species. Around the yard, a fence separates it from the bamboo forest outside. The sound of running water could be heard faintly in the bamboo forest, adding to the tranquility. No wonder fellow Taoists didn't set up a Taoist temple in the wilderness. With such a quiet and secluded Taoist temple, rich in spiritual energy, and able to be carried around, even the 10 major caves cannot compare. Fellow Taoist, this is a wonderful compliment. Please sit down. Please. The two came to sit down at the stone table. Su Junming waved his hand, and all the teapots and tea sets were available. Gilu. Fill the teacup with clear yellow-green tea. The strong aroma of tea floats around. Yun Zongzi is also a knowledgeable person. High-quality Deluo Ling tea. I got it by chance. My fellow Taoist likes it. I will give you a pound later. People with a calm temperament mostly like to drink tea, and Yun Zongzi is no exception. Then the old man will be disrespectful. After the two had a drink, Su Junming brought Yun Zongzi's whip. Separate the wishful body and take it to the backyard to create a spiritual pond. In addition to the 9-color spiritual fetus, the 7-color spiritual fetus and the 3-color spiritual fetus in the pool. There are also the medium-grade top-grade innate spiritual root green lotus of creation, 2 yin-yang albizia lotus, 9 acquired green lotus of good fortune, 9 acquired white lotus of Yaokai, 9 acquired golden Bodhi lotus, and 1 low-grade innate spiritual root red lotus of karma, 9 acquired karma fire red lotuses. These lotus flowers were originally just ordinary immortal roots, but in the creation spirit pond, they were nourished by the creation spiritual energy and the abundant Teishu innate spiritual energy all day long, and their grades continued to improve. When the innate spiritual roots are released, they are limited by the innate immortal spiritual light and cannot be promoted. The rest of the acquired spiritual roots are constantly transforming. Nowadays, the weakest ones are already low-grade Deluo Lingan. The strongest one has reached the top level of Deluo. Su Junming stretched out his hand and a golden lotus of great merit flew over. He took out the artificial whip that Yun Zongzi had given him earlier. As soon as it came out of the wooden box, it expanded instantly and in the blink of an eye it became 9 feet long and as thick as a wrist. He activated the Dian Divine Mirror and instantly saw the Teishu innate greenwood aura that had solidified in the vine whip. At the same time, he also found 7 obvious scars on the vine whip. These 7 ring scars contain unique divine patterns, but they are now completely silent. It seems that this treasure is indeed the top quality innate spiritual root 7 treasure gourd vine that grows in Buzhu Mountain. Su Junming also has a 7 treasure gourd vine, but it is an acquired spiritual treasure. It has been cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Look at the advanced level. The plant in front of me has cultivated Tais Hanglajun's purple gold and red gourd, Nuwa's monster calling banner, Hongyun ancestors Jeju soul removing gourd, Lu Yadaejun's immortal slaying flying knife, and Tongtian cult leader water and fire gourd, Yuanchi Tianzun's Yuanchi treasure box, Emperor Jun's witch-slaying sword. They are all treasures that were famous in ancient times. Their master is not a saint, but also a guest of the Xixiao palace back then, with a great reputation. It's a pity that after marrying these 7 gourds, the innate 7 treasure gourd vine lost its vitality and has now turned into the current human creating whip. The latter is indeed a rare artifact of human merit. However, Su Junming was not very enthusiastic. Moreover, he was embarrassed to take the treasure from Yun Zongzi just because he wanted to grab the treasure. This violated his bottom line as a human being. After holding the gourd vine in your hand, hold the handle with your left hand and gently brush it with your right hand. Wei took a breath and activated his magic power. The cook eats the ox. The mana in the body was consumed rapidly, and visible to the naked eye, a dense mass of humane merit separated from the human creating whip. The artificial whip, which was shaped like a long whip, also changed its appearance. The grip quickly disintegrated, turning into a handful of dead roots hundreds of feet long and densely packed with cobwebs. The texture of guanghua becomes rough. The color also starts from golden yellow and turns to dry yellow. There are more branches and knots. It lasted for a quarter of an hour, and after Su Junming used the magical power of rewarding goodness to restore his mana more than a dozen times, he finally decomposed all the merits of human creation and the dead gourd vine. Without merit, the human creating whip that restrained the collapse had returned to its original form. This is a giant gourd vine that is 3,000 feet long without roots. Pao Ding Ji Niu is an innate magical power that was realized after the Tiangong Dao advanced to Deluo. It can be decomposed instantly, and Deluo and various treasures under Deluo will return to their original state. This magical power is different from the way of time returning to the origin. The former only turns an entire magic weapon into parts, while the latter can directly turn parts into raw materials. There is no doubt that it is better to go back to the roots. But now, in order to break through Hunyuan, Su Junming's time Dao can only use Pao Ding Ji Niu. Huh. With a thought in my heart, I instantly came to the roots of the gourd vine. A faint trace of vitality spread into the sea of consciousness. This vitality was too weak, and was previously covered by strong humanistic merits, so Su Junming did not notice it. Now that the merit has come in, it is unobstructed and unobstructed, which attracts his attention. With a finger, the mana turned into the aura of creation and submerged into the roots of the gourd vine. As if attracted by something, the aura of creation was quickly absorbed and refined. The faint vitality also strengthened a bit. At the same time, a trace of desire spread into Su Junming's heart along with his spiritual consciousness. Sure enough, everything in the world is precious, and you are no exception. This bit of vitality is like a seed. It seems weak, but it contains unimaginable vitality. Think for a moment. Choke, the Pangu sword was unsheathed. Cut out with one sword. The gourd vine was broken by its roots. Removal of carrion leads to new life. He put away the gourd vine and Pangu sword and looked at the gourd root. He nodded with satisfaction. Soon, a question came to mind. Why didn't Nuwa keep this gourd root? Didn't she discover the inspiration in this gourd root? She shook her head. Nuwa was a saint, and she was also a saint who specialized in the Tao of creation. It was impossible for her not to discover the mystery in the gourd vine. As for why you didn't stay? Without any basis, it was difficult for him to speculate. But the original plan can now be overturned. After concentrating on the merits of creating humans and spiritual awareness among the gourds and dead vines, with a wave of his hand, the Hunyuan divine gate appeared, and Su Junming walked in as he wished. As a natal magical weapon, Hunyuan Zhenmen is now just the best Deluo Lingbao. With the cultivation of Ruyi Shen, it is enough to delay time 100 times. Sitting cross-legged in Hunyuan void, his heart moved, and thousands of palms appeared behind him. The next moment, countless seals poured into the gourd vine like a torrent. Thousands of spiritual lights suddenly appeared, and all spiritual energy was gathered. It is originally a Hunyuan grade spiritual material and can be easily cultivated into a Hunyuan spiritual treasure. Moreover, Su Junming's current level of Tiangong Dao has reached the peak of Hunyuan Celestial Immortal. Since it is easy to obtain low-grade Hunyuan Lingbao with 3 Hunyuan restrictions. As for the middle grade, it can be achieved with the talent of this gourd vine. No more will be enough, unless Su Jun can go further tomorrow. But in the Hunyuan realm, every bit of progress is measured in 10,000 years. Even if he has the assistance of the Dian mirror, the speed cannot be faster. Therefore, don't even think about breakthroughs in the short term. It took 300 years to finally master this greenwood spiritual treasure. Because of Hunyuan Zhenmin, the time outside is only 4 months at the moment. Boom! The billowing clouds of heavenly calamity gathered together as fast as a galloping horse. At this moment, Calabash Vine is already a brand new middle-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure, and it will naturally have to survive another heavenly tribulation. Fortunately, the treasures refined by Su Junming have a solid foundation, although the natural disaster is extremely dangerous. Finally got through it safely. Switching to Su Junming himself, who was explaining Huishan Taoism, suddenly stopped. Yun Zongzi opened his eyes and felt that his heart was itching. Fellow Taoist, why don't you stop talking? Haha, I have something to offer my fellow Taoist. After saying that, he opened his left palm, and a rope with flashing green light emerged. Yun Zongzi felt familiar inexplicably. But his weapon refining level is far inferior to Su Junming. And since it lacks a valuable treasure like the Dian Divine Mirror, which can see directly into the essence, it certainly cannot be seen through. And this rope is very different from the human whip. A greenwood spiritual light flourishes like a tide, and a meritorious divine light illuminates the sun and the moon. This is Ivy Lock, the Hunyuan spiritual treasure with 4 restrictions. I got it by chance. I will give it to fellow Taoist today in exchange for his human creating whip. How can this be done? Fellow Taoist, you and I share the same affinity and become best friends. If my Taoist friend's treasure is swallowed up due to someone else's fault, I will feel uneasy. Therefore, for the sake of our friendship, I must accept this treasure. Looking at his firm eyes, Yun Zongzi was moved. Take a deep breath. I have been enlightened for 300 million years. In my life, I have seen liches, humans, gods, and ghosts, but they are not moved by the most precious treasures. Those who are most affectionate and sincere can only be counted in 2 palms. The rest are greedy and despicable. The old Taoist admires Su Daiyu for such a conduct. I don't deserve such praise from my Taoist friends. What I pursue is nothing more than this: when others give me gold and jade, I return them with splendor; when others give me a blow on the head, I return it with a 3-foot sword. I will never repay kindness with hatred. Fellow Taoist is truly sincere and sincere. Su Junming smiled and waved, and the ivy lock flew over. This time Yun Zongzi did not refuse. Thank you, fellow Taoist. Not worthy of it. Su Junming shook his head. You and I are just exchanging. Moreover, the power of the human making whip is still higher than that of the ivy lock, so fellow Taoist suffers. Haha, it's not a loss, it's not a loss. The human creating whip is a sacred weapon of human virtue. It is really not suitable for me, a Taoist monk who practices in seclusion and is free and easy. Of course, if fellow Taoist want to make up for the old Taoist, how about we talk about the Tao of Hu Tian? What's so difficult about this? In the future, as long as fellow Taoists are willing to listen, you can come to Buzhu Mountain to seek the path of poverty at any time. Fellow Taoist, do you really mean what you say? Certainly. Haha, the old Taoist will definitely bother me often in the future. After giving a sermon, Su Junming sent Yun Zongzi away from Chongshan residence. After he left, he left a teleportation array in a hidden location in Zongnan Mountain, connected with the Buzhu Mountain teleportation array, and returned instantly. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1012. Chapter 993 Chaos Gods and Demons, Tiangong Taoist. After nearly 10,000 years away, everything is still well in Chongshan Academy. Also, now that the Lich War has just ended, the hostility between heaven and earth has disappeared, the number of monks in the ancient land has dropped by more than half, and it is rare to become clean. Although Buzhu Mountain was the center of prehistoric times, it was in ruins. No one is coming to fight for it yet. Su Junming did not disturb the disciples, but took a step forward, and when he reappeared, he was already in a huge world. It is 3 quadrillion miles long from north to south and 2 quadrillion miles long from east to west. This place is the first cave in the prehistoric times, Buzhu Mountain Cave. It was once owned by the Witch clan. The battle between the Lich and the Witches failed, Buzhu Mountain was broken, and although the cave sky did not collapse, its spiritual energy was greatly damaged. Later, the Sanking dynasty moved away the spiritual veins of Buzhu Mountain, and the spiritual energy in the cave sky dropped again. Thanks to Su Junming's repair of the Buzhu Mountain veins, the spiritual energy of this place was restored. However, compared with the heyday, it is now only 1/3. But an irreparable regret is that there is no innate spiritual energy in the cave. The same is true for the ancient land. Su Junming still remembers that when he first came here, there was still some innate spiritual energy in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, but now almost all of it has transformed into acquired spiritual energy. It is conceivable that practice will be more difficult in the future, and there will be fewer strong people. To solve it, it's actually easy, just use your innate spiritual roots to suppress it. It would be best to have the best innate spiritual root, but Su Junming was reluctant to part with it. Moreover, this kind of thing is too eye-catching. Without the cultivation level of Hunyuan level and true immortal level, he would never dare to take it out. The principle that a common man is not guilty but possessing a jade is a crime applies everywhere. After sensing it carefully, he looked at the 7 powerful auras in the air that were obviously otherworldly, and smiled with satisfaction. These guys are not slacking off, they are already Delugo true immortals. Buzhu Cave Sky now has become a hermitage place for Delugo disciples of Chongshan Academy. He urged the Hushan god to perform his magic and instantly arrived at the center of the cave. The 1,000,000-foot-tall lofty mountain looks domineering and awe-inspiring. Suspended above it are 7 inverted hills. They are Qingyun, Biang, Chiming, Heiyu, Zixiao, Jinding and the central 7 peaks. The central peak is surrounded by other peaks, connected to each other by a rainbow bridge. Under the bright sunshine, it is beautiful and colorful. Su Junming went straight into the bamboo forest behind the central peak. Normally, if nothing happens, he would clean up here. After arriving at the wooden house in the bamboo forest, opening the ban and entering, we came to Kongshanji Good Fortune Fairy Island again. At the core position, yellow plum, hollow willow, and congenital polygonum multiflorum are arranged according to the 3 talents. The rich acquired chaotic spiritual energy was sucked from the underworld. After being absorbed by it, most of it was absorbed, and a small part was transformed into Taishu innate spiritual energy and released. Whenever Taishu's innate spiritual energy appears, it will always be swallowed into the hollow willow by an inexplicable suction force. Only the remaining 10% will disperse and be absorbed and refined by many spiritual roots around. After taking a look, he activated his magic power and came to the inside of the hollow willow. The rich water energy rushed towards his face. In a vast deep blue ocean, there lies a huge black turtle. His body size is equivalent to 1% of the prehistoric period. Just the length is 500 trillion miles. The black turtle looks a little weird. 2 dragon heads, 1 red and 1 white. Red is not a flame, but a more mysterious way of Tiangong. White is created by creation and emits the light of holiness. The 4 giant feet are obviously one size smaller than the body size, and they look as if they are deformed. Boom! A loud noise like thunder shook the entire space. The already turbulent deep blue ocean instantly surged into sky-high waves. Billions of tons of seawater are stirring, filling the sky and touching the ground, with an astonishing momentum. The big waves slowly calmed down after consuming too much energy. The result was another thunderous roar. Everything happened again. Su Junming opened up a mustard space to avoid major waves. This guy is sleeping again. Suengi was snoring like thunder and drooling at the corner of his mouth, which made Su Junming helpless for a while. Each of his 7 souls has his own characteristics. Renwuji is arrogant and talkative, Dragon Emperor is indifferent, Ao Tian is domineering and lustful, Suda is alcoholic and greedy for money, and Chen Xianzang is a gambler. The characteristic of the newly born Tiangong Taoist body that eliminates filth and soul is lazy. Su Junming looked at him 10 times and 9 times he was sleeping. After tens of thousands of years, apart from occasionally wandering around Chongshan residence, I was not curious about anything in the ancient world. I was simply a homebody to the extreme. Su Junming even suspected that if he didn't wake him up, this guy would sleep until the end of time. If the prehistoric world is not more conducive to enlightenment, I really want to throw this guy into chaos to see if he still seems to be sleeping as soundly as he is now. Shaked his head. With a finger, the Hunyuan divine gate instantly turned into a soul-falling bell. Boom! The earth-shattering sound of the bell penetrates directly into the soul. Suengi, who had been sleeping soundly just now, woke up with an ouch. The limbs shook, and billions of tons of seawater rose into the sky. The whole space shook. If the hollow willow hadn't been the best innate spiritual root, it would have been broken by him in an instant. Who, that little turtle dares to disturb me from sleeping? A gloomy voice reached his ears. Old Chi, are you taking this opportunity to scold me? Looking at Su Junming with a gloomy look and unkind eyes, Tiangong trembled in his heart. The dragon's head, which was bigger than the 365 prime stars, showed a sly expression. I misunderstood, it was purely a misunderstanding. I just dreamed that that bastard Ran Den was so bold as to steal your Dushan god demon flag. I was so angry that I was about to kill that bastard when you woke me up, so I spoke. It's not shameful, hee hee. Su Junming rolled his eyes. Does this guy think he is a fool? A Deluo Jinxian can't distinguish between dreams and reality. Besides, who else could enter the space inside the hollow willow except him? It was clearly this guy who hated himself for always letting him do the work, so he took the opportunity to curse a few words and vent his anger. If there is a next time, I will come in and ring the wake-up call once a day. No, please don't. My dear, I was wrong, and I will never do it again in the future. Tiangong swears and swears. God, if he had a wake-up bell every day, he would go crazy within a year. He snorted coldly. Throw away the human merit that was separated from the human creating whip. Refining a 4-legged square tripod, a low-grade Hunyuan Lingbao, and then adding these human merits into it. So many merits? My lord, you didn't accept Fuxi as your disciple, did you? This is the merit that I separated from the whip of human creation. Fuxi is not born yet. After he finished speaking, there was a hint of thought in his eyes. Human merit is a good thing. It can not only suppress one's luck in the human race, but also quickly increase one's own magic power. Of course, if you want to increase your magic power, you must earn merit by doing good deeds. As for the merits derived from the human creating whip, don't bother. Humanity cannot be bullied. Now that I know the development of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, I can take the opportunity to gain merit from it. The teachers of the 3 emperors have the most merits, but there are too many people watching, teaching, intercepting, and explaining. Not even the Western religion can get involved, let alone someone like him who is not even a Hunyuan. If he really wants to seize the throne, he will probably be beaten secretly by the saints of the three religions. Don't think too noble of guys who can even scheme against their own brothers. If you can't have a main meal, it's not necessarily impossible to have some side dishes. It's too early to think about that. Shaked his head. Fuxi has not yet been born, and the human race has not yet recovered from the heavy losses. How can there be enough luck for it to be reincarnated and become the emperor of the human race? Boom. The familiar sound of snoring interrupted Su Junming's thoughts. Looking at Tiangong, who fell asleep again, he shook his head helplessly. This guy is so uncurious about anything. Don't even ask him about the origin of the human whip. This guy and Renwuji are really two extremes. One annoys me to death, and the other pisses me off. He shook his head and did not wake him up again. Although Tiangong was lethargic, he never compromised on what he was told to do. This is why he tolerates this guy sleeping in. I came to the Creation Fairy Island again, took out the withered roots of the innate spirit gourd, and planted them next to the innate Polygonum multiflorum. In order to save Xian Turtle's physical body, he had exhausted all the fundamental chi of Taoist creation in his hand. Fortunately, this innate spiritual gourd still has a glimmer of hope. It is nourished by the power of creation and can slowly recover. Only he and Tiangong can do this job. But the latter still needs to refine elixirs and weapons, and he won't be able to escape for a while. It's up to me to do it. There won't be anything big going on next. After the Lich War, the number of monks in the world dropped sharply. The fewer the numbers, the less the disputes. The entire prehistoric period seemed extremely peaceful, and Su Junming also wanted to take the opportunity to practice. But before that, he had to overcome the tribulation first. Thanks to the merit gained from rescuing and developing the Buzoutian human race last time, his energy, blood, and magic power have reached the perfection of Deluo Xianxian. I have never overcome the tribulation, I just want to lay a solid foundation. Moreover, he couldn't spare the time to search for the body of heavenly works to eliminate evil souls and go deep into the starry sky. It's finally quiet now. Deluo Xianxian advanced to Deluo Jingxian, and there were 63 thunder tribulations. Every path has the power to destroy the heaven and the earth. Su Junming still adheres to his previous method of overcoming the tribulation. First resist with your physical body. If you really can't bear it anymore, then use your natal spiritual treasure. Because his Taoism far exceeds his cultivation level, the power of his natal spiritual treasure is extremely powerful. Enough to help him survive the catastrophe. As for the calamity of inner demons, it's nothing to mention. Rolling auras of creation descended from the sky. After the mana surged and the energy and blood soared, there was still no movement in the Dian Divine Mirror. Disappointed, he couldn't help but sigh. In the past, every time he crossed a great realm or passed a tribulation, the Dian Divine Mirror would always instantly enhance his understanding, allowing him to choose a path and make rapid progress. However, since taking him through time and space to the medieval era, this situation has never happened again. Obviously, this process consumed too much of its heritage. However, Su Junming could clearly feel that the Dian Mirror was slowly recovering. I believe that as long as he continues, there will be a day when he recovers. I hope you don't keep me waiting too long.